6:02 from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. Good morning. I'm Justin Hawkins. The Titans hosted Washington State wide receiver Kyle Williams on a top 30 visit yesterday. Williams was his teammate, a projected first overall pick, Cam Ward at Washington State in 2022 and 23. After signing Maryland transfer guard Jacoby Gillespie and Vanderbilt transfer forward Jalen Carey in Tennessee basketball, Rick Barnes in Tennessee now turned to Gillespie's teammate at Maryland in the backcourt, Rodney Rice. The Vols will host Rice on a visit this weekend. And to the ice, where the Nashville Predators ended their 6-game losing streak by beating the New York Islanders 7-6 in overtime last night at Bridgestone Arena. Rookie forward Fedor Svechkov had a game-winner 156 into overtime to secure the victory. Steven Stamkos had 2 goals, 2 assists. Philip Forsberg had a goal and assist. And Ryan O'Reilly nets his 300th career NHL goal in the win. With 4 games remaining in the season for the Predators, they are back in action tomorrow night in Utah. Puck drop is at 8 p.m. And in the NBA, the Denver Nuggets fire head coach Michael Malone and general manager Calvin Booth, the team announced Tuesday. The move comes just 3 games left before the playoffs, and the Nuggets, who are 47-32 on the season, currently reside in 4th place in the Western Conference. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you've got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
"15 days until NFL Draft 2025 as we welcome you to the middle of your week and to a hot and fresh RKW. Brewed up as always by Scooter's Coffee with locations in White House, Mount Juliet, Rivergate, Smyrna, and Brentwood. Download the Scooter's Coffee mobile app today to order ahead and save $2 off your first mobile order. We've got some interesting takeaways on what is the most important part of NFL draft evaluations. Joe Milton's trade teaches us a lesson that maybe we can apply to your Tennessee Titans. On 3's Andy Staples drops by at 7:20. We'll talk about spring practice in the SEC and his perspective on maybe some quarterbacks in the NFL draft as well. Coming up in hour number 2, Lie or Legit makes its return. What is real? What is fake in the NFL draft process? Plus, Rhett Bryan at 9 scouting safeties. Inky Johnson at the end of the show. A full 4 hours ready for you on Wednesday, April the 9th. Good morning. How are we doing?
Good morning. Hey, we're solid, man.
Day.
We are. It is a hump day today, man, where I feel like this week is going twice as fast as last week did. I know at this point. By the way, got a quick announcement.
Yes.
It's early in the morning, though, okay? So, hey, I go to Paul Feinbaum's show today, man.
Hey, all right. Wow.
I'll have to
Ramon ain't played nobody, Paul.
I ain't played nobody, Paul.
You should
now
ask
they'll have
Andy
both brothers.
Ask Andy if he has any advice for you.
No, seriously.
As a guest.
I know.
Right?
Seriously. This will be my 4th time going on.
Your 4th time.
Yeah, it is.
Ask yourself if you have any advice for yourself.
When was the last time you went on?
My last time I went on, I feel like it's about a year or so ago. Yeah, I went
Really?
on for a preview. Yeah, I ain't saying anything then.
Yeah, I was like,
then when
say anything about
I
that.
first got on here, I went on, and then there was another time in between. So it's like my 4th time going
Yeah.
on.
That's
fantastic.
Yeah. Advice for myself this time: don't overly predict again. Okay.
Oh.
What did you do last time?
I remember the first time I went on, I said the Vols, I think in that COVID year, were going like 10-2.
Yeah,
I jumped out there. Yeah, I did. That was
You went out there. That's
great.
I jumped all the way out there. So I get excited. I occasionally, in between shows, whatever, I'll turn Feinbaum on my TV. And all I ever see, and I know this is where he got his kickstart at, I guess is more of his notoriety, but it's so many Bama fans that call in.
Yes.
It is fascinating.
That's where he started.
In
Alabama.
Was Alabama, but he's a Tennessee alum, but Alabama's where he got his real big jump start from the Saban. So I learned my history on it for the most part.
Yeah.
But
He's awesome. Paul Feinbaum's one of my favorites. He's always entertaining. His show is. I mean, it's kind of a little bit all over the place, right? Like you got like the guests on that are normal, like you, and then
whoever's from Alabama's,
right.
yeah.
Then you've got the crazy callers that have backgrounds that if you actually like know about some of the backgrounds of these callers, it's just nuts.
Yeah, and I guess it's almost like the sports Howard Stern in a sense, the way he does with callers and engagements and stuff like that.
He's got characters that jump to the front of the line when they call in, things like that.
It was a guy that called in, was a Vols fan, and he wasn't wrong. He was not wrong. He was going crazy, but he wasn't wrong. But he was telling Paula, you need to get more versed in what Kim Caldwell is doing with the Lady Vols, and he went in about how, hey, UConn may have won it, but Gino lost to the Vols. Like, it was good stuff in that moment. Anytime Vols fans can crap on Gino and UConn, they're going to. So I'm excited for that one today.
Exciting.
That'll be fun. Yeah, I'll be tuning in
cool.
for sure.
Pretty cool, man.
What time?
4 o'clock.
4 o'clock.
They wanted to Zoom, but I'll be on my way to a baseball game.
I know, because he does put people on Zoom now.
Yeah, and I'd like to do it too, but I told his producer, by the way, he's got like 50 producers.
Oh, yeah, he's got to.
I got a number from like a 404. I got a text from a 404, and this is a very matter of fact. I was like, you don't know me. Who is this calling me to go on Paul's show? Who is Paul? And I was like, oh.
Paul Feinbaum.
Paul.
Yeah, that Paul. Well, he's got to have like 50 producers, though.
Oh, no, as he should.
Yeah.
He's earned that.
He's definitely earned that.
Absolutely. He's the OG. Just a couple of UT grads talking ball.
Just talking ball, man. I felt like I had another announcement for you guys, too.
Oh.
That's it for right now, though.
Okay. Well, you let us know.
That's
Announcement
it for right
Wednesday.
We got just under 4 hours left, so you got plenty of time to think about
myself. I want to do too much in this situation. Met some nice people at the ballpark, though. I will say that, too. And it's
pretty
funny.
good night for it.
It was, except then it got cold.
Yeah, it's chilly.
Games got long. But a lot of people just walk up to me now. It's just like, man, we're so happy for you doing the Vols thing. I was just like, this is cool. Shout out to Vols Tradition. They sent me a care package yesterday and had
Volunteer
no
Traditions,
idea.
I saw that.
That's some nice stuff.
The good folks at Volunteer Traditions have taken a lot of my money because they make some good stuff. That's a free shout out I will freely give. And it's good that was awesome. I saw that on your social media. I was like, dang.
My guy Mason, we met him. You remember a couple of years ago when we had the Vols Virginia game? Yeah. We all did the pregame show.
Oh, yeah.
And we were walking across the Sky Bridge.
Yes.
Not Sky Bridge, the bridge.
Yep.
Big bridge.
Pedestrian bridge. We'll take it.
The bridge.
I'm tracking.
And Mason, the owner of it, was like, hey, I live in Utah, your side of town. I was like, hey, nice to meet you. General conversations like, and you've ordered from us. He's like, you got on our shirt right now.
Yeah.
I was like, what? And at that moment, I lost it. I was
great
like,
guy.
Heck, Mason's awesome
cool.
guy.
That business is awesome.
Yes.
Good way to support local.
Homegrown,
yeah, 100%.
Kayla,
Oh, yeah.
Look,
100%.
I got some free stuff yesterday, but I've poured into the pot.
A lot of money.
Yeah.
You and I
got a
might as well
little
own stock
return
in
now.
it at this
Tell
point.
you. So, Mason, if you're listening, thank you. And Will and I
That's
and Kayla,
cool.
we get you some Washington State stuff out of there, too.
I don't think there's Washington State traditions.
We'll figure something out.
Maybe they will if they get Kyle Williams here, right?
We need some Titan stuff at that point, but appreciate that being sent to the house. I was figuring out how you got my address. Oh, invoices. That's how you got my address.
Titans hosting wide receiver Kyle Williams yesterday for a top 30 visit. 6'2 wide receiver. Finished with more than 1,000 yards last season, 14 touchdowns. Adam Schefter putting it out. And adding the note that Nick Holtz was Williams' OC at UNLV.
Yep.
So could be an interesting fit for the Titans. Maybe a fourth rounder, but maybe a second rounder as well. We'll see.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
He came to y'all too?
Yeah, so he spent 1 year at UNLV. A lot of Washington State's people are either junior college transfers or transfers from maybe a little bit smaller program.
Gotcha.
So technically at that time, it was still, I think the first year was still Pac-12 for Kyle. No, it wasn't. It was just getting out of the Pac-12. So Kyle was here the next 2 years.
Okay.
For his junior and senior year. But what were you just talking about, Nick Holtz?
He was Nick Holtz
OC at UNLV.
So he's obviously familiar with him, which is good. I actually found that out a couple months ago. I did not know that at first, that he was his...
He played the Pac-12 in 2023.
Okay, yeah. So there you go. So technically, I guess it was an upgrade from UNLV to that.
No doubt about it. Williams, he popped out at the Senior Bowl. Very noticeable there. They had the ability to get open. It's a matter of course, it seemed like there's definitely a mutual interest in between he and the Titans, and be fascinating to see where he falls. That's what you're dealing with.
I don't want the stock to rise too fast because I'm like, I feel like if he is there in the fourth round early, that first pick, that you could probably go get him. So I'm like, I want him to go as high as he can go, but at the same time,
if he can fall here in Nashville, no doubt about it. It'll be fascinating to see how this Titans draft flows.
It's just weird.
Especially if they don't pick up a third.
That's the biggest thing.
Yep.
615-737-1045. We stream the show live at 1045 The Zone TV, Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. The F&M Bank chat is open and ready for your comments in the comment section on YouTube, Facebook Live, Twitter, Twitch, any of those. You can interact with us and with the RKW community. Thought there was an interesting takeaway from SI.com's Albert Breer about the Joe Milton trade and what it teaches us about NFL draft evaluations. We'll talk about that next. Hey, it's Phil Bowling. If you've been looking for cars and you see the words buy here, pay here, it makes you think that maybe you're going to head somewhere else, right? And I get it. But I'm here to tell you that there is one place you can go that is different. Nolensville Road Auto Mart. And they're different for a few simple reasons. They've been doing business in Nashville for 61 years. They're Nashville natives that only sell clean title cars under 12 grand. So if you're new to town and you need a place to trust, they got you. Maybe you need that first car for the new driver in your family. They can do that too. And don't take just my word for it. Check out their Google reviews as well. They are excellent. And, you know, that's saying something for a car dealership. 615-242-1279 is the number, with just one location on Nolensville Road, close to Thompson Lane. They will get you in and out in an hour or less. And the best part, they're the oldest buy here, pay here in Nashville. They work with your own financing if you got it. Flexibility, transparency, and honesty. That's why I recommend Nolensville Road Auto Mart. Give them a call at 615-242-1279. RKW on 104.5 The Zone is brewed by Scooters Coffee in White House, Mount Juliet, Rivergate, Smyrna, and Brentwood. Download the Scooters Coffee mobile app today to order ahead and save $2 off your first mobile order. We have started our day off with, what is this, the light roast?
Yeah, the Ethiopia.
By Scooters. It's fantastic.
Another thing that's fantastic. Who's singing this song? Who's is that?
This is Post Malone.
I just wanted to do it, just to see your your music.
This is my favorite
He
artist.
does like Post Malone.
I know. I just needed to know.
It's my
real
favorite.
quick.
I'm a band guy, but that's my favorite singer.
Yeah.
Post Malone.
Posty. Is he supposed to be doing something else here before we hit this topic?
He's got another tour.
I thought
Another stadium
That's what
tour. I
saw.
think with Jelly Roll, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Him and Jelly Roll going on tour together.
That's a good little duo.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, looking at daytime TV yesterday, man, the wife went for a quick lunch, man. Jelly Roll's in a sitcom or series that's about
Wait,
to come
I
out.
didn't know
I
this.
wouldn't put it past him.
Looked like he's starring in it.
Good for Jelly Roll.
It tripped me out, man. So I didn't know if y'all knew that or not.
No, I did not know that. That's cool, man. I love that guy.
Yeah, he's everywhere. What a man. He waited till he came up, man. That's huge right
Talking
there.
about starve from the bottom now, yeah.
No, seriously, man. Good for him. He's in a sitcom that's coming
That's
up really
awesome,
soon.
man.
Fire Country, I think.
Yes,
No
sir.
kidding.
Yes,
there you go.
legitimately.
He sings the theme song.
Well,
for
he's
Fire Country.
in it.
So he must be starring.
It looked like he's
part of
starring
too.
in it.
Because Lainey Wilson did that with Yellowstone.
Speaking of, I can't
Back
say.
in
I
the
won't
day.
disclose
I think he's
that.
playing a role from because Fire Country. I don't know if you've watched the show, but it's like basically firefighters that have been in jail.
Okay.
And that's what they're doing. I think Jelly Roll
sweet.
is playing a role from being in jail, and he's kind of like a mentor kind of thing.
Oh, that's cool.
Sure. Gotcha. No, I'll say what I was going to say. Speaking of Lainey was
Yeah.
in that. So her fiance, Devlin
Played
Hodges,
football?
Duck,
Yeah, your teammate.
is my old teammate. It's fascinating, man. But he sent me a picture yesterday. He texted me, was like, hey, I think I know this kid. They were playing against a school. I don't know who he was going to see yesterday on either team, but he was like, hey, I know this kid. And RJ was playing first base.
No
And he was
kidding.
there. Laney wasn't there, but he was there. though,
Everybody would have been
yesterday.
hitting home runs.
I know, right?
Lainey Wilson in the crowd.
Well, one of the
Lady,
kids,
watch this.
One of the 10
Yeah.
kids on the opposing team did first pitch. Gone. It was crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, it was though. But
Deep right field, Laney. Here we go.
I'm
Call my
telling
shot.
you.
Babe Ruth.
shout out to my guy Duck, man. He was like, "Hey, I know that kid's like, yeah, he was in a locker room with you, man."
Duck's got to be a real one.
Crazy.
Duck, he's so
That name is awesome, by the way.
cool, man. Like I block for some cool guys. Like I being all right, cool.
Because he was a running back.
blocking for
Duck
Duck.
Hodges?
Was he?
He's a quarterback.
Yeah, he's a quarterback.
From
Sanford.
I thought he was
he's
a
a
running
quarterback.
Quarterback at Sanford.
Our quarterback has killed it at Stanford.
Yeah.
Like his,
No kidding.
I'm talking about put up numbers, and he came to us and was just like, "What's going on?" Like, and he went out and started and beat Phillip Rivers. We did out in San Diego. That's
How
when they
long
was doing
was he
the transplant. That's when they was rebuilding their stadium and moving to L.A.
Yeah.
How long did he play?
Yeah,
He was there for a while.
Yeah, Duck was there for a little minute.
Like 4 or 5 years?
He spun the block. Yeah, definitely spun the block.
Because you had him, you had Mason Rudolph, you
Sure
had
did.
Josh Dobbs, you had Ben Roethlisberger.
Landry Jones,
Landry
now in
Jones.
Yeah,
Tennessee.
Landry Jones.
You there, Charlie Batch,
Charlie Batch, Dennis Dixon,
Charlie
Byron
Batch.
Leftwich,
Mike Vick.
Mike Vick, head coach Mike Vick.
I was going to say, that's a
know.
pretty good list of quarterbacks.
It really is.
You've got college head coaches, you've got NFL offensive coordinators, you've got former
cool.
Titans, you've got Lainey Wilson's fiance.
Haley Wilson's
How about that?
It's
That's
crazy.
that's the
man.
Rolodex of Ramon Foster, and
What a
you're very
Rolodex.
humble about it. But
It was.
That is you got a pretty cool little Rolodex.
That was a cool role. Byron Leftwich now is also in Colorado coaching. So another coach.
Yeah.
There we go.
Is he really?
Yeah,
Okay.
he's on staff, I feel like now, in Colorado.
Is he not in
You
Tampa?
need the offensive coordinator now.
He's the offensive coordinator?
Are you serious?
He just signed this offseason.
Yeah, he just signed.
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
right.
B left.
At
did.
Colorado.
At Colorado. I didn't mean to derail us right there,
No,
but
no,
that
that's
was
interesting. I didn't know all that stuff.
Duck was out there swinging and chilling yesterday, man.
Could see. So Albert Breer of SI.com had an interesting takeaway about the Joe Milton trade, writing that college tape is still the most valuable thing. And it's interesting. I think a lot of the perception around Joe Milton's trade to the Dallas Cowboys was, wow, his stock has really risen, right? It's actually funny. It really hasn't. So the return the Patriots got for him, they essentially moved a 7th-round pick, 217th overall, up 46 spots into the end of the 5th round, 171st overall, in return for Joe Milton. From the Jimmy Johnson draft trade chart, the difference in those two picks is 18.8 points, which is the value of the 181st pick.
Okay.
Joe Milton was drafted 193rd.
Wow.
Interesting that is telling us, hey, you can ball out in week 18. You can ball out once, but your college tape still doesn't lie. And Joe Milton's at Tennessee still doesn't lie. I just think that's interesting. The fact that he can have such a big performance, yet at the same time, college tape matters. And I think we learned maybe here with Will Levis, college tape really matters.
It does matter, Will, but I think it also matters that we're in a league that these coaches and these front offices always want to roll the dice on the next quarterback that has the potential to maybe succeed in their system or on their team. And usually you see this with these young guys. The Cowboys just let go, or they traded away. Who was the young quarterback? I'm drawing a blank. Trey Lance.
They didn't trade him. They just didn't re-sign him.
They let him go. But they signed him, obviously, when they brought him over there from the 49ers, and that didn't even amount to anything. So it was like, okay, on to the next one. Then Trey Lance gets another opportunity. Like, this guy's barely even played football. The same with Joe Milton. Like, you saw little bits and pieces of him in New England when he came in for short periods of time. But I think there's always that intrigue with these young quarterbacks, these athletic quarterbacks especially, that maybe you could get something out of them. And of course, you're getting them for a way better deal at that point. That's why I think Will Levis, no doubt in my mind, they're going to at some point trade this guy, whether it be at the draft time period or if they're going to wait for him to maybe rise his stock a little in training camp. But I think they'll at least get a 7th rounder for him because
Levis,
somebody wants to try him out.
Yeah, if we're comparing it to Levis's valuation and his ability and the Titans' ability to get something for him, the issue that I feel like Will Levis has, he's 2 years in the league.
He's got too much NFL tape now.
Way too much NFL tape. Milton, like I will say, I do think that last game and the idea that he can make plays for you moved him up just slightly. What was it, 18.8 points, Will? Like
18.8 points is the value of what they get for Joe Milton, which is the equivalent of the 181st pick. Yeah. That's the pick that has that same point value.
Yes.
If we want to go by the numbers.
No doubt about it. I'll say this, good for Joe Milton, right? As far as being able to be in an environment where he gets a better opportunity. I was looking at, what you put in our rundown, Will, and essentially said the same thing as like the way you got to treat quarterbacks when they're your guy. It ain't saying that Drake May. Drake Milton. I blended both of them right there. Drake May is soft, or you got to take care of him. I know. Don't get me started.
You might have Patrick Mahomes. We put together Drake May and Joe Milton.
Put that power together
Patrick Mahomes.
with Drake May. Oh, my gosh, man. But it's fascinating to hear the value of where Joe is and what it means to a guy like Drake May. Like, it says Joe has aspirations to be a starter still. And you can't put a guy like that behind Drake May because it's going to force him to either be nervous, which happens for young guys, or Joe is going to go show him from time to time if you ever get that opportunity. So you remove him and you bring in a guy that's a career backup and Josh Dobbs right now. The value that they got was simply to alleviate a problem. And I think that's fair for the Patriots and very smart too. And it's rare that NFL teams do good business with players, especially young players. Joe's not supposed to move for that, but he does, simply because he had just a little bit of tape with a little bit of hope coming out of college, and his age doesn't help him either. Vrabel did right by Joe on this one, I feel like.
Yeah, he did.
And I'm shocked by it, to be quite honest with you.
Well, I mean, I think it's interesting.
Vrabel, but like in the idea that they had to find a fit that he can go like actually maximize his career.
Right.
Yeah, it makes sense.
It's interesting. Albert Breer makes the point that Josh Dobbs was brought in being told, you are here to mentor our guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they get rid of competition because Joe Milton wants to be a starter. The Titans have a very similar situation. Yeah. They've just brought in 2 backup quarterbacks in Brandon Allen and Tim Boyle. They have a quarterback in Will Levis who, let's face it, wants to be a starter. And then they're about to draft Cam Ward. So is there any reason for waiting to trade Will Levis? So here's the proposition I've got for you. Would you rather get a little bit worse draft capital now just to get him out of the room? Get Will Levis out of the room. It's maybe a pick swap to move up 50 spots from 7th to 6th. I don't think you're even getting a 5th round pick at this point for Will Levis, unless you are sending one of the top of the sixth, like unless you're barely moving up. I think it's sending Will Levis at a 7 for a 6 at this point, or it's just a straight 7. Or do you take the risk of him raising his draft stock in training camp, and maybe you can get a 6 or a 5 next year by waiting to get rid of it?
I thought about this for a while because the last time we had this conversation, I think it was in the camp of waiting till training camp to trade him and to allow him to raise his draft stock. And look, I mean, we've seen it here before with 2 young quarterbacks in Malik Willis and Will Levis that were drafted right year after year with each other. So it can work. Like there can be competition where these 2 guys have aspirations of being starters and they're still young. So I'm not saying that it can't work, but I think maybe with this new front office and the way that they're going about things, I almost feel like they just want to have a fresh start come draft time. And if they have somebody who's interested in Will Levis around the draft, why not just, like Will said, do it now and maybe just pick up another pick in this year's draft, which they've always said how much they just want to stockpile these draft picks, and let Cam Ward be in here with the 2 veterans that they signed in the offseason. I think that might be the healthiest environment right now. And Will Levis is also a different level of, I think, how he wants to compete. Like, I just remember those words that I keep saying at the final part of the year where he was like, I'm going to be a starter no matter what, if it's here or somewhere else. And I just feel like if it was here, he always knew in the back of his mind, like even during training camp, like he's not going to be the guy. So I just feel like give him a fresh start somewhere else to start the year.
It's either, this is why I felt like we had this conversation about 3 weeks ago. It's just 4 quarterbacks. That's asking a lot. Will Levis is dead cap this year. His cap hit is 2.6. Dead cap is 4.8. That's really a drop in the bucket to a lot of teams. But
pennies.
It is. I say this, the sooner the better for a guy like Will Levis, because here's the other part of it. If we can see what New England has told Josh Dobbs as far as, hey, you be a help and an assistant pretty much to Drake May, like there's not enough reps for Will Levis to, one, get better, and 2, also allow Cam Ward to be the guy. Plus, you got your 2 and 3 quarterback also that are backups behind him. So that's why I've always thought like the room is too muddy, it's too murky right now to allow him to be here. You either try to strike a deal as quick as you can by the draft or you cut him. It's that simple to me. Like, and I, with how I feel with what Vrabel was able to do with Joe Milton, as respectful as that was, I almost feel it's disrespectful to allow Will Levis to stay here in that sense, because there's nothing more for him. He can't get enough reps, in my opinion. You got to move on from him. So it's got to be a 7th or cut him.
I think it's bad business to do this move before you feel like you have the value that you want to recoup for him. Like Will Levis is not gonna infect Cam Ward with interception-prone throws. Like he doesn't have the plague. Like they can be in the same room for a couple weeks or a couple months.
They can
in this process. To me, I think it's important to understand the context of the 4 quarterbacks in training camp thing. Because you know who's done that under Mike Borgonzi for a long time is Kansas City. Kansas City routinely has 4 quarterbacks in camp. I mean, they have had guys in their training camps like Chris Oladokun, however you say it.
Oladokin.
I was way off.
It was a Steeler.
Chris Oladokun, Ian Book, Shane Buechele, Anthony Gordon, Kyle Shermer, he of Vanderbilt fame. Beat Tennessee, unfortunately, Kyle Shermer. That's the way they operate. They like having 4 quarterbacks in camp. I'd have to ask Mike Borgonzi why that is, but they value having 4 quarterbacks in training camp. So I don't think that's something they feel like is a deterrent for these guys developing or getting better. Clearly, they have a process to where they prefer that for those guys to get better.
I think the issue with looking at that model versus this one is Patrick Mahomes. Most starting quarterbacks don't take the bulk of training camp reps at all. It starts to get more serious with them by the time like the beginning of the season. You got to think Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes have been locked tight for a very long time. So what he learns in training camp is moot at that point.
Sure, and I feel they were doing this when he was still young too. Like before he was established, they still had 4 quarterbacks. Which is again is the same thing for me. Like they're still, I feel like, looking for a better backup than they are starter.
And then when you're looking at where as much as Cam Ward needs to get up to speed to compete for this team, there's not enough room in that room and reps on any single day to allow it to be 4 quarterbacks this year. When you're a little bit more established of a coach, I feel like, in my opinion, then you can do that. I don't think Callahan's in that spot to do that unless they're going to run 2 separate teams of 2 different quarterbacks splitting reps. And that just doesn't make any sense in the NFL world. Yeah. In my opinion, you're right, and it may be fine what Andy Reid and them have done out there, but I think their situation and scenario is just way different than what you have here. Like, you're reestablishing a quarterback,
and I do agree with you. I'm just simply stating what they've done because clearly they've got a reason why they value 4 quarterbacks in camp, and I'm struggling to understand it.
Yeah, me too. I don't get that.
I think at some point, if they keep Will Levis during training camp, those questions are going to be asked. Like, those questions will be asked if he's still here.
A lot of noise.
The first time that we get to talk to them, and I don't, like you said, you don't really know the real reason. Like, we can say all the stuff that we want, speculating, and they might never give us the real reason. Because I know, Will, you say, like, oh, no, Will Levis isn't. I'm not saying that he's like a plague for turnovers. I'm just saying.
I never said he did.
You don't know what this new front office is thinking in terms of Will Levis and kind of what they don't want to cross with Cam Ward as a rookie in terms of just that room and setting it up for this next season. And I just think that sometimes a fresh start, like they've done with a lot of pieces on this team, I don't see why they wouldn't do this with Will Levis being one of the key parts that everybody talks about. You know, just like trade him, like get him out of that room. I don't think it helps to really just wait till training camp. And to your point, Ramon, who knows how many reps Levis will even get.
If you're in the Moneyball mindset that I think this organization is now in, every guy's got a price.
That's fair.
Every guy's got a price. And if that price isn't met, you just don't move them. Like, I truly think it's that simple. I really do. And there will be reps in training in preseason games. No doubt about 100%. That. Like, just because there's not reps in practice doesn't mean that Will Levis is not going to get a full half or a full quarter of one of these 3 preseason games because, I mean, Cam Ward's not going to get that much.
He can get.
Yeah, he does.
Will Levis needs all the practice and all those reps that he can get to make him valuable in a preseason game.
I still think you wait until training camp when he has the opportunity to put better play on film.
Yeah, that to me is the best option to get more value out of him.
Right. I'd rather have a future. I'd rather have a future 6 than a 7 now.
More value.
You already have 2 7s this year anyway. I would rather have a future 6th round pick. If you could raise his stock, or even a swap for a move up 50 spots, move up 40 spots, and get another 5 next year for Will Levis and a 6th.
But what if you don't? What if his stock doesn't? I mean,
okay, well, then you can still get the 7 for him. Like, his stock doesn't drop then because he's not good in preseason. Like, his stock is never going to get lower than it is right now is the point.
I think it could. I do. I legitimately look at his situation and say right now with the site like unseen going into this next season, they're better off trying to move him now because if you move him through training camp and he has the ability to play and it doesn't look good still, you get absolutely nothing. I feel like it's you run the risk of him being worse with live reps in training camp. I think the best option is to hope that he plays well. And what does that mean for Will Levis? Handing the ball off? Or do you actually want to put him in harm's way and throw the football a little bit more too? Like it's mind-numbing to think about which scenario was better because with what he presented us with last year, it's not very optimistic that he can create more value. The hope is that he could going into training camp. But I was going to ask you, as you was finishing right there, like at any point during training camp, if Cam Ward is drafted here, he's here day one of the offseason. He goes through OTAs, mini camp, and he's ready to go all through training camp. At any point in those 3 preseason games, do you start Will Levis just to say, hey, prove your point? Or is it the Cam Ward show moving forward?
I don't think you start Will Levis, but you play him the majority of the reps. Yeah.
If you're trying to get his trade stock up, you definitely have to play him.
And it's also easier to evaluate the guys that are battling for roster spots when you have a quarterback who has run an offense somewhat well in his career. Like, this isn't Tim Boyle. Like, right? Like, Will Levis is going to be able to show you, like, all right, how good is Bryce Oliver? How good are these, the new undrafted receivers you're bringing in? Because he can function within an NFL offense, just against backups
Yeah.
on NFL defenses.
What I'm also curious is to hear Mike Borgonzi after the draft, and if they do pick Cam Ward, what is now he going to say about the whole Will Levis, we're going to have him compete? I'm just curious at this point then, what will you say to that as well? Like,
if
what will
Borgonzi
be the answer to that? Because that was their message as well coming into this offseason, and they've stuck with a lot of their messages that they've put out there. So what's the answer to that if they do indeed draft Cam Ward?
Because they will have contradicted their we won't pass on generational talent if they take Cam Ward, most likely.
Yeah.
It's what they do, what they say for me.
It is. I just don't see a scenario that he can be here if he's taken number 1 overall. Like, even get the 7th or cut him, period.
615-737-1045, an awkward award nomination. Someone who was demoted is now up for a big award in sports. We'll talk about that next.
Do you want to look and feel better about yourself? Maybe you can do that with fuller and thicker hair. Hey, it's Kayla Anderson. I went to We Grow Hair about 10 months ago. I grew a lot of my hair back in these temple areas, and it was the biggest confidence boost ever. You can do that too. All you got to do, give them a call right now at 615-376-6010. We grow hair right here in Nashville for almost 30 years. They've been doing great business, and they've got solutions that work. Maybe you're looking to grow a lot more of your hair. You've seen it in the back of your head kind of disappear as you get older. No one else in Tennessee has the ARTIS robotic FUE procedure. They also have their high density hair transplants. That's going to give you 2 times more hair in just one procedure. But if you're looking to just grow back some of your hair, like in your temple area where I lost some, that's easy to do. 45-minute laser treatments. You can do those throughout the week. And their PRP treatments for men and women are awesome. Backed by the only company I trust to help my thinning hair, it's We Grow Hair. Call them now at 615-376-6010. You can schedule a free consultation at wegrowhair.com.
RKW brewed by Scooter's Coffee on 104.5 The Zone. There is some awkwardness in sports media. You know we love the drama in this line of work. So in his final 2 years as Fox's number one NFL game analyst, Greg Olsen won the Emmy for Outstanding Personality / Event Analyst. Well, now in his first year as Fox's number two, he could make it 3 in a row. He is nominated again, and Tom Brady is not.
Yes.
For the Sports Emmy of Best Color Analyst. Other candidates for Best Analyst on TV broadcast: Troy Aikman, Peyton Manning, Bill Raftery, Minimit, and John Smoltz. Along with, there's a funny story behind that, too, that I learned recently.
Later. Yeah.
Greg Olsen. Kind of awkward, right? Paying the guy $37.5 million, demoting the other guy, and then this other guy, who's number 2, could win the award for best analyst in the country again.
And probably will.
He should.
And probably will.
I think he's the best analyst on television in sports right now.
And I feel like he's Aaron Rodgers in him is the way I feel about it right now. Like he got demoted. Oh, you brought in a new guy to replace me? Well, watch me go win MVP 4 times in a row. Like, and here's the thing about it. It sucks the way he's gotten done because Tom has a bigger name. Like, Greg Olsen is not anybody you just throw your nose up at. Like, he's a guy. He's a
future Hall of Fame tight end.
Easily, exactly. Man. And here's the other part behind Greg Olsen that let you know, like, he got hosed even more because of it just being Tom and a quarterback. I've never met a person that did not like him. Great guy.
He's cool.
Enjoy work. Like, all the people that have worked, like, they enjoy working with him. He's professional. He doesn't overdo his job, and he's just good at, like, it. It sucks getting one up like that, but that is a slap in the face to CBS for allowing that to happen. Or Fox. For Fox to allow that to happen like that, because when it's good, man, just leave it alone. But I get the draw of Tom. Tom's got a lot of pressure. Like, if he ever had a year, he's got a lot of work to do. And I won't criticize him in that sense because, look, it ain't his fault he set the market the way he did. But it sucks for a guy like Greg Olsen that I don't want to say he's a good guy because good guys sometimes finish last. Clearly in his case, too.
He's a good dude.
Yeah, he's a good dude, though, man. I hope he does win it well. Who he up against him? Peyton? He'll probably be Peyton
Manning,
easily.
Troy Aikman, Bill Raftery, and John Smoltz.
Smoltz
baseball.
does a good job, actually.
Right? Okay, I like Smoltz, though, anytime I've heard him.
This is an interesting situation, and in the TV business, we go through this a lot, too, where you are maybe working with a colleague and somebody gets nominated that might be the third position. I know in local news, back in the day when they used to actually have sports departments, there were 1, 2, and 3. And sometimes, you had your 3-person winning over the sports director or the number 2. And in those situations, you're happy for each other, right? Because those are your teammates. And I'm sure Tom Brady is, happy for Greg, despite, him being the number 1 guy and him being the number 2. Greg's better. I mean, it is what it is. Just because Tom Brady is in that number 1 spot doesn't necessarily mean he was there because of his work. He had never done color analyst stuff before until that point. And so I think it was normal for people to be like, hey, Greg's a better analyst right now at this point of his career. And Tom Brady might never be that. Tom is a little bit robotic. And if he is going to be nominated one day for an Emmy or one of these awards, he's going to have to loosen up. He's going to have to be the Tom Brady that we saw in Tampa Bay that's, maybe just letting his guard down a little. Because I do think in that first year, he almost felt like he was going to win a quarterback job again.
Oh, Tom
in the
was,
way that he went about things. It was just a little bit stiff and a little bit structured. I think for that job, you got to loosen up. You got to show your personality a little bit. That's why you like a guy like Greg Olsen. He's just unapologetically himself. And he knows what he's doing because he played the game.
Yeah, I still wonder how much of that with Tom Brady is because he is a part owner of the Raiders.
Yeah, it's a good question. I don't know.
His inability to be critical or his inability to really be honest. It is interesting, though, because if you ever listen to him and watch on FS1 when he's on Colin Cowherd, he's terrific. Tom Brady is.
Yeah.
He's not robotic. He's honest. He's analytical. I don't think he has the shot clock yet is probably the biggest problem. And anyone who's done play-by-play or color analysis in a game setting knows that it's not just what you're saying, it's how quickly you have to package it together for the audience in a way that makes sense. So, you could give somebody 5 minutes to explain what happened on a play and everybody could do it. Yeah. It's the ability in a shot clock and literally a play clock to do it in 40 seconds and the play-by-play guy needs about 15 of those, so about 25 seconds. That I don't think Tom has the rhythm down yet.
Sure.
And that is something you can either do or you can't do. Yeah. So that's what's, I think, going to be really interesting with him. I do think he'll get better because I think he's enough of a worker to where he knows what people are saying. He also listens to enough people and is motivated by that as an athlete to where he knows what his weaknesses are. But I'm curious if he'll be a different person this upcoming season.
Personality-wise, I think he's too big of an item. As far as allowing you to see him laugh and have a good, like, genuinely laugh and not just tell a football joke or something,
not
like
fake TV laughter.
Yeah, exactly. Like
anyway, 615-736.
Exactly, man.
There you go.
But Greg Olsen, I think we saw him up at the combine. He was walking down the street just having a random conversation. Probably was negotiating or talking about how can he win another Emmy, man. I would if I was him. I as many as I could win, I would if I was Greg Olsen.
Yeah, he's so good. So as a color analyst now, who else do you like, Ramon Foster?
I was asked this question the other day. Yeah, right now.
Because you will be in this talk here soon.
will. The guys off top, man, would probably be Mike Golick Sr. I like how he does it on radio. He's very animated. Get in, get out quick.
Great on Sunday Night Football with Ryan Radke.
Yes, absolutely. And the other guys, man, is just guys I admire. Charles Davis. And I know he was a little bit different, but his and the other one would be Kirk Herbstreit.
That's
for
mine.
like on how they grind. I like the way they grind more than they actually like. Well, no, I like the way they do the job. But Charles and Kirk go, and if you want to like really be good at it, like see what they're doing. And I've been watching them for a while, especially Kirk.
Kirk Herbstreit is for me one of the tops.
And now Charles is number one, right? At CBS?
Yeah, he's going to be doing
for college football.
College football
next season.
Yeah.
And then JJ Watt. We'll move in with Iron Eagle.
JJ Watt. Talk about color. Yeah, that's right.
Coming up, hour number 2, 7 a.m. here on RKW. We had Emery Hunt of CBS Sports on the show yesterday. I thought we asked a good question about what Cam Ward needs to be successful. Emery Hunt gave us a very simple answer that you'll hear next.
It's Ramon Foster for Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Man, Hiller's been around here since 1990 now. Our family owned and operated. I love that, man. They're local, too, man. Jimmy Hiller was recently named amongst the most admired CEOs, and it's because how he truly cares for his team and his clients. Me being one of those clients, man. Hiller always takes care of me on every job they've had. I think I got to get them over to the house right now because we have some electrical stuff pop during the storm. But, hey, it's outside stuff. I'll get to it. But I know where to go to if I do need to reach a man. And here's what they always guarantee. It's 100% satisfaction, happy you'll be, or the service is free. And they absolutely mean that. You wouldn't promise that type of service or that type of promise if you weren't good at your job. They're professional, experienced, and always trustworthy, man. Listen, if you want to book like I book or learn more about them, simply head to happyhiller.com. It's Ramon Foster for All American Pest Control. Good people, it's that time of the year where the bugs become buggier, and it's that time of the year when I'm also happy to have All American Pest Control as somebody I can go to. They take great care of me and my family and have for years now. My wife, or me, both of us, hate bugs, man. We want every single one of them gone, except for 1 or 2 spiders maybe. But here's the thing. We are set up on All American's Complete Care Max program for pest control, mosquitoes, termites, and yard. What I love is if a pest gets inside, guess what? All I got to do is call them. They will send a pest expert back out to treat the inside for no extra charge. It's fantastic. So call All American today or visit yuckbugs.com. That's yuckbugs.com.
7 o'clock from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. Good morning. I'm Justin Hawkins. The Titans hosted Washington State wide receiver Kyle Williams on a top 30 visit yesterday. Williams was the teammate of projected first overall pick Cam Ward at Washington State in 2022 and 23. And in Tennessee basketball news, after signing Maryland transfer guard Jacoby Gillespie and Vanderbilt transfer forward Jalen Carey in the portal, Rick Barnes in Tennessee now turned to Gillespie's teammate at Maryland in the backcourt, Rodney Rice. He'll visit this weekend. And on ice, the Nashville Predators end their 6-game losing streak by beating the New York Islanders 7-6 in overtime last night at Bridgestone Arena. Rookie forward Fedor Svechkov had the game winner 156 into overtime to secure the comeback victory. Steven Stamkos had 2 goals, 2 assists. Philip Forsberg had a goal and assist. And Ryan O'Reilly nets his 300th career NHL goal in the win. With 4 games left in the season for the Predators, they are back in action tomorrow night in Utah. Puck drop is at 8 p.m. And in the NBA, the Denver Nuggets fire head coach Michael Malone and general manager Calvin Booth, the team announced Tuesday. The move comes just 3 games left before the playoffs start, and the Nuggets, who are 47-32 on the season, currently reside in 4th place in the Western Conference. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you've got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once for your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Seven a.m., hour 2 of RKW, getting started on this Wednesday morning. Crew's all here. Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, and Will Bolding. We'll be joined in 20 minutes by On Three's Andy Staples, talking a little bit of college football. I also always love getting the college football mind perspective on NFL prospects, because if you watch college football, then you've watched film.
Yeah.
You know who's good, who's not, but there's not as much narrative. There's not as much bias. There's not as much just NFL junk to get in the way. So we'll talk about that with Andy Staples. See what he thinks about Cam Ward, the quarterback, based on what he saw at Miami, coming up here at 7:20. We talked to Emory Hunt of CBS Sports yesterday. Has a great new draft guide out, fbgameplan.com. And Ramon, I believe, asked him, what does Cam Ward need to be successful right away? Emory Hunt had this to say.
All Cam needs is dudes to catch football, and so that's the beauty about the draft, is that the Titans can get Cam Ward and then spend the rest of the draft getting playmakers. And if you're able to get playmakers, guys that can catch the ball, we know Cam Ward is going to do his thing. With Shedeur, all he needs is just run plays. You know what I'm saying? Like they ran probably 6 run plays a game at Colorado. If you just call run plays, he's going to be way better than he was in college. So with Cam, he's going to need some receivers out there, because right now that's an area where Tennessee can definitely improve their roster, some more pass catchers. If that's the case, I think he has the escapability to, mitigate whatever's up front along the offensive line. They have a stable of backs. Defensively, you kind of want them to add some more pieces there as well, just to get some key stops. But if you're going to be in shootout Sunday every Sunday, you got a guy that can definitely, the perfect gunslinger out there in Cam Ward to go toe-to-toe with anybody on the other side.
That was Emory Hunt of CBS Sports at the show yesterday. What does he need? Guys to catch the ball. Well, the Titans don't have many of those, to be fair as well. Are you willing to overemphasize pass catchers in this draft and compromise on your method a little bit? If the new way of the Titans is we want first downs, not touchdowns, slow and methodical, rebuild, are you willing to compromise on that a little bit at the pass catcher spot just to help Cam Ward this offseason?
Are you willing to? Are you willing to compromise?
Because you're already paying a receiver a lot of money,
yes,
and a running back a lot of money, and his backup is a 3rd-round pick. You've already invested a lot of draft capital in skill players. Does that matter?
It doesn't, because every quarterback needs as many as you can get. You legitimately need as many as you can get. And I think at least as far as year one goes, you have to see if he's going to be able to elevate guys around him. Because, again, we speak on what this team need. Do you go wide receiver? Do you go edge? Do you go off-ball linebacker? Do you go best value at the number 2 at the second round pick that you have here? My mind tells me that this group is supposed to, the Titans are supposed to go get a wide receiver. If you're going 1 and 2, you got 2 wide receivers that you can somewhat trust and believe in at some point, right? And the side that Emory said, too, is he just need guys. He didn't say how good. He said how bad they need to be. And the side of Cam, I think that's super unique from everybody else in this draft, is his ability to improv. I'm not sure if there's another guy that can get off script better than him. And there's value in that if you also understand that, hey, I can't get too over the top with it. I can't believe too much in myself to just start throwing it into places where it's not supposed to go. I felt like that was Will Levis's issue last year is, hey, he can make it go anywhere. Cam's ability to create, I want to see how that translates over to the NFL level. So as much as I think he needs one, Will, I don't think you get everything in year 1 and as it pertains to trying to make sure that he's successful. Because you know this, you got the 5th-year option. You can slow walk this thing for as long as you can and get to where you want to. Everybody's been telling me, you go get the quarterback, so go get the quarterback. We'll figure out everything else later.
I think you have to be realistic. In a world where they even had a 3rd-round pick, I'd actually say you have the opportunity to pick a wide receiver either in that 2nd or 3rd round and then go get another in the 4th, right? Unfortunately, that's not the situation here. So you have to be somewhat picky about your selections. I am still on the boat for you go and get a wide receiver in that 2nd round with that early pick. Because I do think you need to give him a guy to grow with, not just for this season, but that you have together. I think the pairings of a young quarterback and a young wide receiver are really big in this day and age in the NFL. I think we see so many of, those kind of pairings thrive and help their offense long term when we see them kind of come up together. So I do truly believe they need to get him a wide receiver with that 2nd pick. But with not having a 3rd pick, they still have to help this defense. You still have to have a defense out there to, we talk about the quarterback. You also have to have somebody rushing the quarterback. And that is something that they're lacking right now. And so I think they do need to be realistic in this draft. Help Cam as much as you can. Get him that, wide receiver, young wide receiver in the 2nd round. You've got Calvin Ridley. Maybe you sign another guy, right? You might sign another guy when you have the draft over as well. But you just can't go 2nd round wide receiver and then another one early in the 4th.
Other part is, for me too, is what is your goal with Cam in year 1? You trying to win Rookie of the Year, or you just trying to establish a culture that he can operate in too? Because if you're trying to do dynamic stuff and create Jaden Daniels 2.0, then you go get a wide receiver and you try to see if there's another veteran out there later. You got most of what the offensive line need as far as starters go. I still look at that center spot and say Corey Levin's a guy until we figure out where Lloyd Cushenberry's at.
Yep.
It's just fascinating because, again, it's if you're really going to do it right, are you building up a team or are you just building up a quarterback?
That was my exact next question. What if what's best for Cam Ward is not what's best for the Tennessee Titans? What matters more to you in 2025, developing Cam Ward or developing a roster? Because you obviously, developing Cam Ward is developing your roster. So, making Cam Ward better is in the best interest of the team. But if you have got pick 35, and the way I look at it is that there are a lot of wide receivers in that mix who could fall to you at that point. But there's also a pot of them that are more like picks 50 to 65. Mm-hmm. So there are a lot of receivers available to you that if you traded back and tried to get a 3rd-round pick this season, you might have that opportunity. If there's a quarterback there someone wants to move up for. But there is better value at other positions at pick 35 than wide receiver. So are you willing to compromise a bit on your values and on your board to help your quarterback? Or do you go with what the board tells you and you take what the board gives you and take the player slotted as far as the best value? Honestly, I don't have an answer. Because I think either way you spin it, there's a positive and a negative to it. Yes, you could overcompensate and help your quarterback. That's great. Then you might also have the number 30 ranked run defense. If you don't get an inside linebacker or if you don't get another defensive lineman or You can't stop the pass because you don't have anyone who can get after the passer. Like, okay, then sure, Cam Ward is getting better, but he's also losing games 38-31.
Yeah.
Like, is that a meaningful next step for this team, losing in more high-scoring games?
Exactly, especially for a guy like him, because if you ask me the way too early, you muted that word on Twitter, but the way too early rookie of the year.
Way too early top 25 is what I muted.
Oh, top 25. Well, the way too early rookie of the year in my mind, especially if he goes to this place, is Ashton Genty and the Vegas Raiders. It's simply because, like, he's going to get the ball. There's an offense that's going to be fitted for him to run the football, like, and the running back as far as the reemergence of them, because I can't see where this team is at right now with the weapons that you need. It's hard to imagine at this point. It is, April 9th, 2025.
17 days away or something like that.
With what the Titans need and what they have and the money that they're capable of spending, that you can surround Cam enough for him to go win Rookie of the Year. So I say, we slow walk this thing, Kayla, and build a team. I think you find more value into getting somebody to support Cam. And also the other part that we keep leaving out is Jeff, like that side of the ball.
He needs support too.
At some point,
totally,
you hate to be put in the corner the way Myles Garrett did Cleveland. Y'all going to either have to pay me or get rid of me to make me happy.
Because one day he'll ask out if you keep not getting him help.
No, for real.
And I think that I do truly feel Mike Borgonzi is going to be smart in terms of what they do. And I do think they'll follow their draft board. My gut tells them that, whether that be a wide receiver that's high, that they get at that 35 pick. And I've said this before in the show too. It might be right there, neck and neck with an edge they like and a receiver that are available when they get down to 35. And that's when I think it becomes interesting that's where the conversation comes in.
Right.
If those two are neck and neck with an edge and a receiver you really like, I think at that point in the second round, you go for complimenting your quarterback and getting that wide receiver at that spot.
There are a lot of options here because it feels like Christmas, first of all. Dane Brugler's The Beast came out at The Athletic. So we now have this resource to use, but he has got 9 receivers with potential second-round grades. Of those 9 receivers, 6 of them could either be first-round picks or third-round picks. So there is a lot of range on how this board could fall for the Titans, and maybe it does fall their way where Luther Burden falls to them at 35.
Okay.
At that point, Luther Burden turning the card, right? But in Dane Brugler's draft guide, Teteroa McMillan is the only receiver with a pure first-round draft grade. Matthew Golden, Luther Burden, and Emeka Ibuka have first or second-round draft grades. Jalen Noel and Jaden Higgins, the duo from Iowa State, both have pure second-round grades. And then there are 3 guys that are either second or third on his board. Jalen Royals of Utah State, Trey Harris of Ole Miss, and Jack Besh at TCU. Mm-hmm. Those are the 9 players that he thinks could be second-round picks based on grade. Now, guys reach all the time, so you could reach for Isaiah Bond or Elike Manor, the Stanford guy, who are the next 2 on the board, who are third-round grades. But you're probably not reaching at the 35th pick for one of those guys.
And that part of it, too. Let me present it to you real quick. If it's between a wide receiver of that type of quality is questionable or James Pierce at that spot, too, if he drops.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Legit, or any other DN for that matter. I'm trying to pull up the list right now, too. I mean, right now,
Mike
second.
Green.
I mean, Michael Williams, right? James Pierce Jr.
Ezaraku.
I mean, Landon Jackson.
Plenty of options.
It's there.
And that's why it's got to be a receiver you feel like, again, is high on. I mean, it would be somebody who's high on your board. We don't know who that is. I mean, again, we're not looking at the wide receivers, but the ones he named just now that have a first round, grade that could fall to the second, or that have a second round grade possibly on that higher end. That's probably what I would go for. If it's not, though, if it's one of these reaching wide receivers, I'd say then just do the edge. If there's none of those other guys there.
And without being in the meetings and the interviews, it's hard to know what character concern, quote unquote, red flags that are just non-starters for these guys.
Exactly.
Like maybe James Pierce or Luther Burden are just totally off their board. It's hard to know that without being in the meetings either. 615-737-1045. Andy Staples of On3 talk some college football with us coming up next.
It's Ramon Foster for the Wellness Institute of Nashville. Good people, man, they have a deal going on right now where you can get 47% off non-surgical spine decompression, man. Listen to me, man. Dr. Mitchell and Dr. Ashley will not give up on you, man. When it comes to back and knee pain, Dr. Mitchell and Dr. Ashley are in the trenches fighting and to help you win this battle. You guys, and I said all the time, we just deal with stuff. Everybody does. Well, it'll be okay. Or you just take a couple of, Tylenol or something like that. Absolutely not, man. Get to a place that can get you at your best, and you will not have to deal with that type of pain, man. I promise you they work. They're good at it. Have the best technology in their building. You walk in, you're going to be floored. I promise you that. They have the high-tech equipment that will get you feeling better, and I've seen the facility. It is amazing. So get your consultation. You can get x-rays. You can get a full exam with Dr. Mitchell and Dr. Ashley by simply reaching out to the Wellness Institute of Nashville at 615-246-5009 or go to painisbad.com.
Hansel Bowling, do you have a ceiling light fixture that flickers? Do you need an extra outlet or two? Or, hey, do you just have those wall switches that don't seem to work? Maybe some days things are working great. Some days they're not. Well, these all seem to be simple issues. They're rarely do-it-yourself projects. Hey, if you're like me, you do things yourself, it just ends up getting worse, right? Dealing with electricity requires the expertise of an experienced professional. You got to call the electricians over at Lee Company. Their electrical team can solve any problem you have safely and efficiently. Experienced pros who are there when you need them. Open 24/7, 365. Lee Company, they got over 80 years of experience taking care of things just like this. Right now, you can also enjoy $30 off your next electrical visit by just calling them. 615-567-1000 or head online, leecompany.com to schedule your appointment. That's 615-567-1000 online at leecompany.com. That's Lee Company, all you need. RKW brewed by Scooters Coffee on 104.5 The Zone. Download the Scooters Coffee mobile app today to order ahead and save $2 off your first mobile order. Talking some college football this morning. Full crew here. Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, and Will Bowling, joined by On Three's Andy Staples. I feel like this should be a Friday in the fall where I'm nervous about a Tennessee game. We're previewing it with Andy. That's just kind of how I feel having him on right now. What's going on, Andy, man? It's been a minute. How are you?
So I make you nervous is what you're saying, Will.
In the best way. In the best way. How was San Antonio?
San Antonio was great. It was spectacular. We went out there and did a show with the Whataburger folks. And,
nice.
Man, it was delicious. One, meeting their executive chef and basically asking him, okay, what are the things that you always wish you could make or that you've run by the suits that they haven't quite approved yet? He's got this one thing where it's a fried chicken sandwich that has waffles as buns.
Ooh.
That he thinks he can get it through. He's tried it a couple times. He thinks he can get it through. He thinks it wasn't the right time yet. I don't think there's a wrong time for something like that. So I'm watching. I'm going to be watching very carefully.
Interesting.
Nice.
You're doing the Lord's work out here, Andy.
Yeah, that's fascinating. I mean, this is legit.
We were asking other people about basketball, but those are the questions I needed.
I don't know, Andy, you were the most right person in the room, man.
That's important.
Legitimately, we need those answers.
That's right. That's right. Andy, I always think it's interesting this time of year. I want to get into some spring practice stuff and college football notes, but I always love talking to college football people about draft prospects. And it's no diss at NFL people, but like you guys talk to college coaches. You guys have been watching some of these players for years. Obviously here in Nashville, there's a lot of Cam Ward hype, and it feels like Cam Ward is about to be a Tennessee Titan soon. What were people at Miami saying about Cam Ward when he got there versus maybe when he left? And what did that year at Miami do for a guy that is about to be unveiled as a Tennessee Titan here in a couple weeks?
Well, I don't think Cam Ward became a different person in Miami. I think Cam Ward was surrounded by better talent at Miami. You got to remember what happened to Washington State. You know, they went from being a Pac-12 team to being, well, I guess they were still part of the Pac-12, but nobody else was except for Oregon State. So it changed dramatically on them, and they had to deal with that, and Cam Ward had to deal with that. So it wasn't a situation that he was not capable or was not playing well at Washington State. He didn't have the talent around him. He goes to Miami. He's playing behind a really good offensive line. He's playing with Xavier Restrepo and a bunch of good receivers. And you start to see what Cam Ward can do when he's got all that support around him. And, you know, look, in the NFL, it's different. You're not going to have superior talent every game. But Miami didn't either. I mean, Miami had to play against some pretty good teams. And you saw the improvisational skill that Cam Ward has. You saw how well he keeps plays alive. You saw how strong his arm is. He's got a kind of an unorthodox throwing motion. He's a little bit of a sidearm guy, but it works for him. And he's the one QB in this class that I feel comfortable saying I think is going to be a successful NFL quarterback. I don't feel comfortable with anybody else.
Andy, with the other two guys, and we always do this in draft season, but with SEC quarterbacks especially, like Jackson Dart and Jalen Milroe, how do NFL teams, you think, make sense of quarterbacks that come from a Lane Kiffin offense? And we know this with Hendon Hooker coming from the Tennessee offense and how much that kind of hurt his stock. Like, why do you think we're talking ourselves into these guys? And is there any good reason for us to talk ourselves into Jackson Dart and Jalen Milroe other than us just being bored and having a lot of time to fill?
Well, there hadn't been a successful quarterback who came out of an air raid offense until Patrick Mahomes did. So it's not the offense; it's the quarterback. It's how capable are you of adjusting to this new information, figuring out how to run this. And you know, Jackson Dart hasn't only run that offense, and so there has not been a successful NFL quarterback who came out of that offense in college. It's the old Art Briles Baylor offense, and the way it works, it's very different than what you have to do in the NFL, where you're setting protections, where you're reading the whole field. There's a lot more work involved for an NFL quarterback. That offense makes the quarterback's job quite a bit easier, but you can't run it in the NFL because the cornerbacks are too good, the defensive linemen are too good. Because basically the way you stop that offense is if you have 4 defensive linemen that their 5 can't block, and you have 1 or 2 lockdown corners, it can't do anything. So, like in the NFL, you couldn't run it. So that's been the issue. It's not really the guys themselves. It's not really the offense. It's the guys themselves, because there are plenty of quarterbacks who run other offenses. So Jackson Dart ran the Clay Helton's offense at USC his freshman year, and he played in some games and looked pretty good. So I don't think he's incapable of it. Jalen Milroe ran a lot more sophisticated offense at Alabama, so that piece of it, he's going to be fine going into. Jalen Milroe has to fix some things that I'm not sure are fixable, where he just doesn't sense pressure very well. And he takes some sacks that he doesn't need to take. Especially, it's crazy that a guy that is that athletic and that fast took as many sacks as he did. And I think when you get in the NFL, it's magnified because he did have superior talent almost every game. And in the games where he didn't have superior talent, like the Michigan game, the Rose Bowl, it wasn't good.
Can I jump in real quick, Andy? Andy Staples of On 3 with us. Speaking of Jalen Milroe, he accepted recently an NFL draft invitation. And a lot of people here in Tennessee remember specifically what happened with Will Levis. There's been other quarterbacks that have sat there in that green room. Come day 2, they're still there. Do you think this was odd that he took this invitation? Does he feel good that he's going to be taken somewhere in that first round?
Yeah, I did think it was odd because I know that none of the agents want a Levis thing to happen again because it's bad for their clients. It's a bad look. So his agent is advising him to take it, which I think means they feel pretty confident. Now, maybe they don't care. Maybe they're like, look, it's fine if he gets picked in the second round. That's fine, too. I've had people go back and forth on the NFL, I don't think the NFL wants people sitting in the green room. I've heard people very cynically say, oh, they want that. It's good for drama. I don't think they like that much. But I've also had people say they don't really care. They're just kind of indifferent to it. Also, I'm not sure how many guys want to go to Green Bay for the draft. So they may be struggling to get people to come. And, if Shedeur Sanders is not coming and if Cam Ward's not coming, like if they're going to do draft party somewhere else, then you probably need to get a little more heat there, and having another quarterback who might get picked high is a way to do that. But it's interesting because there are more quarterback needy teams than there are quarterbacks you feel confident in. And like I said before, Cam Ward's the only one I feel confident is going to be a good NFL starter. But I would take a chance on Shedeur Sanders. Jackson Dart, Jalen Milroe, I wouldn't pick those guys in the first round. I'd wait.
What would your hesitation be on Shedeur, though? Because when we all came into draft talk, he was clearly one of the guys, A and B, with Cam Ward possibly coming here. And it almost felt like, not that his stock, severely dropped, but the conversation here quickly turned to just Cam Ward. What would be, a hesitation?
Cam Ward's better than him.
Yeah.
There's no hesitation. Cam Ward's just better. So they the Titans are the first pick. They pick Cam. They're going to pick Cam Ward because he's better. But that doesn't mean Shedeur's not good. It's just that Cam Ward gives you a better chance to win right now. Shedeur, I think, could be good, but I don't know exactly how he's going to turn out. One thing I find intriguing about Shedeur, I mentioned Jalen Milroe having superior talent in most of his games. Jackson Dart did in a lot of his games too. Shedeur did not have a very good offensive line either of his 2 years at Colorado. So he made all that stuff happen in dirty pockets behind a pretty bad offensive line. Well, guess what? That's probably what you're going to have to deal with in the NFL as a very high draft pick. So that, I think, actually works in his favor because very rarely do you get in a situation where you get to the NFL and your talent level relative to the other team increases. But that's where Shedeur Sanders is going to be. It's actually what happened with Brock Purdy, too. Brock Purdy was at Iowa State where most of the games they played, they had inferior talent, and he raised their level of play. And then he gets to the 49ers where they had superior talent in most games. And you're like, oh, wow, this guy's pretty good. So with Shedeur, same thing where he's actually going to have nicer, cleaner pockets than he had in college, which is very rare going to the NFL.
Andy Staples with us this morning. Andy, when you look at the landscape of college football right now with with college coaches and ADs going to Capitol Hill, man, what's going to come from this as it pertains to, I guess, a guideline for what college football is moving forward? We got even coaches like Kirby Smart complaining about it right now.
Yeah, I mean, long term or short term is the question. Like long term, they're gonna be employees. They're gonna have contracts. They'll have rules. They'll collectively bargain it. They're going to get to that. It's just they got to get the schools on board with that. The presidents don't want that. They don't know why they don't want it, and they need to be convinced of why it will make life much easier for them going forward. Yeah. But that's sort of where they're at right now. Short term, you got the House versus the NCAA settlement that's going to get approved here in the next few weeks as long as they make a couple little tweaks to it, and the schools will start paying the athletes directly. So right now you have this weird situation where there's a bunch more money entering the system because the schools can start paying this year. So everybody's jacking up the price. Next year is going to be crazy because that bubble is going to pop because it won't be a bunch of new money. Mm-hmm. So the agents and the players are going to have to be like, oh, yeah, we're going to take a little pay cut here because there's not just a massive surge of new money coming in.
No doubt. Andy, also, man, congratulations on you guys' national championship. We had a guy call in yesterday, goes by the name of Gator Rand Carter.
May or may not have been a general manager here at one point. Yeah, just called into the show.
May or may not have been a Key West High School conch.
Yeah. Shout out.
A little history real quick, man. But congratulations to you guys, though, man. But besides that, you guys have a trend so far, man. The new age of what the SEC turned into. I saw a coach do it once, and his name was Urban Meyer, go to Florida and win the national championship within like the first 5 years. And from that, there was dominance. Your coach, Todd Golden, did the exact same thing. 3 years and win a natty. Will you guys also change the landscape of what college basketball coaches are in the SEC again, or is this just, hey, good moment, good NIL, good season is the way you view this one? Because I feel like pressure's been added again.
Well, I think they just put together a team that had really good chemistry, and we'll see going forward if that's what Todd Golden is. Because if you look at these guys that they brought together, just individually, it doesn't make a lot of sense how that becomes a national championship team. You take a guy from Iona, you take a guy from Florida Atlantic, you take a guy from Washington State, and then you sprinkle in a high school recruit from Australia and one from Pennsylvania. Like, it doesn't make, because none of these guys were the highest rated. They weren't when they took portal guys. They were not the biggest guys in the transfer portal, but he took guys that fit what he needed positionally, so that he could create these lineups. And I think one thing that Florida was good at this year is they could beat you any way you wanted to play. And that's what won them the national championship, because you can't play Houston and not play Houston's game. Houston will control the tempo. Houston will lock you down defensively. They will make the game miserable. They will drag you into hell. And if you can't play that way, you can't beat them. And you saw that with Duke, where they just melted down at the end when Houston starts putting full court press on. Florida didn't have to worry about that. They had solutions for that, and that's the Golden put together a roster that had a bunch of different solutions. I don't think that's going to be super easy to do in the transfer portal era. I think sometimes you get it right and sometimes you don't. So we'll see if he can do it going forward. But I say his eye for talent is pretty amazing, because here's the one thing that the what if. So in 2022, he gets the job. He comes from San Francisco. The first player to come in on a visit is Will Richard, who'd been at Belmont, up by you guys. And so Will Richard had a good freshman year at Belmont, puts his name in the portal. Lots of different schools want him. Golden doesn't really even know anything about him. They're just like, this is a guy who had a good year at Belmont. And so he takes a visit. They like him. There was another player who actually grew up in Florida. He's from Plant City, Florida. He went to Morehead State, was transferring the same year. And Florida was one of the two finalists for him. They almost got him. His name is Janai Broom. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So that's the eye for talent we're talking about. He's got a good eye for talent, and he seems to understand how the pieces fit together. And I think that's, whether we're talking about basketball or football, like that's the important thing. Like, the really good coaches understand it's not necessarily the biggest names. Like that 2022 Texas A&M football recruiting class. Great, lots of really highly ranked players that didn't play well together. Like, you have to find good players who play well together. That's the secret sauce.
Andy Staples of On 3, our guest. Subscribe to the Andy and Ari On 3 podcast, a heavy in my rotation, talking college sports each and every morning. Andy, I love you guys' interview with James Franklin, and I think it's really interesting, the comment he made to you guys saying, we have the alignment I've been pounding the table for since 2014. Are you buying stock in James Franklin with 5-star coordinators, maybe the top quarterback in next year's class, and Drew Aller, in a Big Ten that's got a couple of teams replacing quarterbacks again with Michigan and Ohio State. Lots of question marks in the Big Ten. We know what James Franklin has. How good can that team be this season?
They can be very good. They need better receivers, and we'll see if the transfers they brought in Kyron Hudson from USC, and then they brought another transfer from Troy, who was their number one receiver last year. If they have decent receivers, they're capable of winning a national championship, but that's been their problem the last couple of years. But they have everything else. And as far as the alignment goes, I had a lot of people say, oh, he says that now that they won a couple of games in the playoff. No. That's been going on. The good alignment for them started in 2022 when they got a new AD and they got a new president. Their AD before did not really care much about college football. And Pat Kraft, who was a linebacker at Indiana, who's their AD now, he cares a lot. And he's going to act just like all these ADs in the SEC. He's going to act like Ohio State's been acting they're going to care about football the same way the teams that actually compete for national titles have cared about football for the last 20 years. But remember, they've only been doing that for 2 seasons. So that's where it comes. If you have that for a few years in a row, you got a chance. I think they've got a chance, but it is sort of more of an on-field development thing. They just, for whatever reason, have not been able to put good receivers on the field. They have had everything else the past 2 years. But the Orange Bowl is your best example of that. Mm-hmm. Receivers caught 0 passes in the Orange Bowl. You have one receiver who can do anything in that game. You're playing for the national title.
Real quick, are we going to get more patient with coaches? Because Will saying James Franklin been there since 2014. That is a while for him not to actually get to the big show. Are universities going to have to be more patient with coaches?
Well, they've made it where they have to be more patient because they've given these huge buyouts.
Yeah.
Think about how many coaches are just too expensive to fire. Kentucky could go 0-12. They can't fire Mark Stoops. The way his contract is written, his buyout, which is in I think would be in the high 30 millions or maybe even low 40 millions, would be due in full within 60 days. He ain't going anywhere if he doesn't want to. So Brian Kelly, if LSU's unhappy, don't matter. They can't afford to buy out. Lincoln Riley, they can't afford to buy out. So I think the schools have sort of forced some patience upon themselves.
Andy Staples of On 3, your guest, talking some college football, some NFL draft this morning. Get Andy and Ari On 3, a must-listen if you are a college sports fan, wherever you download podcasts. Great stuff as always, Andy. Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it, Andy.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Andy.
Yes, sir. Andy Staples with us here this morning, talking some college ball. That is what a couple 8-4 seasons will get you in Lexington, Ramon.
Dog.
I know.
I'm trying to get fired if I'm Stoops. Hey, put my statue up, man, and send me my check.
My dream job is to be a fired college football coach.
No, we joke
People,
about
when
that.
I have kids, they're going to ask my kids what they want to be when they grow up. Fired college football coach? I'm going to teach them that from an early age.
You tell your kids, listen, y'all, we got to move 15 times, but the payoff is we going to get paid.
We're very far from those years. Don't get me
That
wrong.
moving gets tiring.
Very far. Hey, for $50 million, I'll do it.
Me too.
I'll move every year for $50 million.
Well, Ed Ogeron say, hey, no, what
Your significant other might not.
Get me those moving companies on retainer.
If Keisha, if she say we get $17 million to get fired, hey boy, you better leave now. What you mean? Heck no, okay, we out that thing.
All right, coming up, ESPN made a very big decision that has a lot of people very upset this week in particular. We'll talk about that next. What's up? It's Will Bowling. Warmer weather is here. Many of us, we're outside more. Let's say about my friends at Brentwood Hearing Center that can help you catch up on the sounds that you have been missing. And that includes when you're at the pool, at the beach, you're just sweating doing yard work, because they got revolutionary new technology over at Brentwood Hearing Center. That's the Phonak Sphere. It's not only designed to help you hear when there's background noise around you. You're at a crowded restaurant, you're at a sporting event. You want to hear the conversation next to you and not get drowned out in all that noise. But now when you're working up a sweat in the yard or you're going for a dip in the pool, you can keep those hearing aids in. That's right. For a demonstration of the Phonak Sphere, give my friends at Brentwood Hearing Center a call at 615-377-0420, or you can just visit them online at BrentwoodHearingCenter.com. They're going to help you catch up on the sounds that you have been missing. 615-377-0420. They're online at BrentwoodHearingCenter.com. That's Brentwood Hearing Center. Better hearing, better life. RKW on 104.5 The Zone continues, wrapping up the first half of the show. It is one of the best weeks of the year, guys. It really is. Par 3 contest today, and tomorrow morning,
The Masters.
we have the Masters.
Hello, friends.
And I'll give you leaderboard updates in this voice tomorrow. Usually I'm gone on the Friday of the Masters. Usually I have track.
The track thing.
The thing I was away for last week got moved up a week.
Oh.
So if you need me this weekend, no, you don't.
No, you don't.
No, you don't. I'm not on the call for soccer Saturday. No, I'm going to be making azaleas in my apartment and locked in. So there is something ESPN did that's upset a lot of people. Have you guys seen the new song that they are using to tease Masters Cup?
No, I have not.
You know this has always been Ray Charles, Georgia.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. I've
Well,
heard
they
it.
did a remake of it. Noah Khan doing Georgia on My Mind. This is what ESPN is now doing for Masters promos on their television network. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
It ain't bad.
It just
The
takes
vocals are
getting,
good.
It takes getting used to, though. 'cause
And if you're on the stream,
It's
fire
that.
up the
Yeah,
104.5 The Zone
it's
app.
that.
I can't play it for you.
You'd be watching ESPN,
Yeah.
and I knew exactly what time of the year it is just because I heard the old version, Ray Charles version.
Yeah.
And at this point, when Will asked that, I actually had to think because I was like, wait, have I heard the new Masters remix? Because it took a second for me to know that it was new. He's got a great voice, but it's just going to take me a while to know that is then associated directly now.
Up-tempo, new sound, I guess sounds younger, but
Still chill.
sometimes you just don't change it. Like, let that live. Like, I like Ray Charles' version of it a whole
So
lot
do I.
better. Or I'm going to just be, let me go Tennessee route here. I'd love to hear Justin Timberlake sing that.
Oh, that'd be interesting. Kind of sounds a little bit like he could be a Justin Timberlake.
And that's what made me want Justin Timberlake on that
Tennessee
song
kid.
more. I know, like, and I get it. I'm not sure if the singer who's singing it right now got a Georgia tie.
No, he's from Maine. I think he's from Maine. I know he's from
that's
New
real.
England.
That's
Good
That's-
voice.
It wasn't bad.
Noah Khan is one of my
wasn't
favorite
bad.
singers. It's growing on me, is
Yeah.
what I'll say. The first time I heard it, because to me, I mark what time of year it is based on how soon I hear Ray Charles.
Me too.
real.
Like as soon as I hit Georgia, like I
Yeah.
can't do it. Obviously, I'm not even going to try to sound like
That
Ray
was
Charles.
a good effort right there.
No, I'm not.
You probably
I'm
get
not
a D
crap.
on that one. You didn't fail. It was a D.
But like,
Passing.
I don't know. Some things should remain sacred. I admire them for trying, though.
And
But why
again,
do they change it? Is my question.
well, see, and that's why I don't want to dog ESPN for, because it could be something Ray Charles' estate, maybe. Although that's his.
I don't think so, though.
I mean, yeah, because you're right. The rights
They've been doing
still
it for
go to
so
Ray
long.
Charles. Like, that's Ray Charles' song. So
Yeah.
it still goes too. Just wanted to hip it up, change
Yeah.
it. That's all it is for
Bring
the most
in
part.
another audience, too. Like, Noah
Yeah.
Khan is liked by a lot of people my age. And so it is like a lot of, you're trying to TikTokify a lot of things.
No doubt.
In media.
And that's what I was going to ask too is who's the crowd that they're going for, number one, but also who's the leader right now to potentially win it? Is it more Ray Charles type or is it Noah Khan in the sense of like eras? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Definitely
Like
not
who's the
Tiger
favorite
Woods,
right
'cause
now?
he's not playing.
Scotty Scheffler?
Of
Favorite?
course, Scotty is right
Scotty
up there.
is right now?
Rory's still looking
I think I
for
heard-
his green jacket.
Rory's looking for another. I heard Mayer say I think it's Scotty's leading the odds. If I'm not
Scotty's
mistaken.
got the best odds.
Yeah.
Rory's second,
Can't
I
count out
believe.
DeChambeau.
Ludwig Aberg, I think, is third. He's my pick to win it.
Yeah.
I think Ludwig wins it.
For sure. I
He
actually
was
had
second
a
last year.
He's a
decent
good
enough
young
weekend
player.
to sit back and watch some of it. What? No, I don't.
So
Heck, I
excited.
got the doggone phone. Game.
Speaking of guys that rarely don't have time on weekends, Ron Slay is called in.
He called in.
What's up, Slay?
Let's go.
Hey, what's happening, man?
What's
I ain't
going
get to
on?
stop in. You know what I mean? What up, Will Lee? What up, KK?
morning.
What's
Big
up?
Hawk in the building. You know what I mean? Big Dree, Big Savage in the building. Let me tell y'all this real quick. Will, you hit it on the head. I just want to give my 2 cents. I wish I would have knew you was going to bring this up. I would have came on
Yeah.
in. Hey, man, Power, the 50 Cent show,
Yeah.
should only be sang by Joe.
Yep. I agree.
He sings the theme song to this show, and he switched it for about 3 weeks, and the people went crazy. So He went back to the original because he knows what worked. For the master theme song. It's way all day. Like, if we ain't gonna learn, they're gonna learn the hard way too, man. I'm telling you now, it's the same thing with Luther Vandross. One shining moment is only sung by one person.
Correct.
You don't want to hear anybody else. That's the thing. All that evolving and forgetting the history and not looking back and not understanding the forefathers that laid the foundation, that's the problem. That's why people look up and say the greatest person to ever play in the world was Anthony Edwards. Like, they don't know what happened before. And this is the reason why.
That's right.
There's only one person to be singing the Masters, and that's Ray Charles.
That's
man.
right. That's right.
Georgia's on my mind.
There it is. You sound just like him right there, Savage.
That was good.
Yeah. It's not
I got my
wrong.
glasses on, too, so I can't see.
Slate, what's it been like to get some sleep the past couple of days?
Hey, man, really, I went down to 10 o'clock last night. I can't remember the last time that I went down to 10 and was really, like, sleep, like, I'm out. Phone calls coming through. I can't hear them. Like, this is, man, beautiful rest. But the only thing is when you go to sleep early, you get up early.
Get up
early. Like
Yep.
Tell us
This
about
is
it.
true.
You sound like us.
Ron
Just more
Slay,
rested.
3HL, 3 to 6. Always good to hear from you. Thank you, sir.
I can't wait to get a recap from you. Golly, it's been a...
Don't worry. I'll see y'all Friday.
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry,
2
sweetheart.
days.
Don't worry, sweetheart.
Thank you,
All
Slay.
right, Savage.
Yeah.
All right, Ron Slay.
I mean, he's not wrong. And look, if anything, young people can learn history. There's still lots of people that listen to old school or that know a song that will always associate it with it. And so why not just keep it?
I feel like it's a poll question.
There it is.
come
See,
on,
that's
man.
you can't get any better. Georgia.
Azaleas in bloom,
Come on, Will, do the thing.
pimentos and cheese.
Do the
It's
thing.
the Masters.
Come on.
A tradition unlike any other. Yeah, no, see, that feels right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
See, now, don't
yeah,
put
you
my voice
can.
next up to Jim
Now
Nance.
put
I'm
that
going to pale in comparison.
New one on with the
Yeah,
gymnast. I don't think it will
you-
fit.
You got
It
enough
just-
room
Well,
to
that's
do it?
it. CBS didn't do the Noah Khan thing. This was all ESPN.
Dude,
Yeah,
that gave me
that's true.
chills. I ain't gonna lie. That gave me chills,
Azaleas in
man.
bloom.
Yeah, just
I know Savage going
Let's
crazy in
go-
the whip right now. Listen to that Ray Charles.
Let's go to 14, where
go.
Scotty Scheffler's on the team.
That was good.
Oh, it's so good. So, best week of the year. It's Jim Nance Appreciation Week.
That was solid.
Boys and
right
girls.
there.
It's always Jim Nance Appreciation Week.
he
What
had
are
a
we talking
big lead up to this too.
Sure did.
He's probably exhausted as well,
That was so good.
cheering for his Houston Cougs.
You know who else is exhausted? Shedeur Sanders. He's taking a lot of visits, including with Ramon Foster's former employer tomorrow. We'll talk about that next.
Hey, it's Ramon and Kayla for Window Nation. April's great time to spruce up your house. Weather's looking nice here next couple of days. Maybe get out there and get those windows fixed, especially right now during Window Nation's Buy 4, Get 4 free sale. It's going on right now. Like I said, you can pay nothing until 2027. And if you buy a house full of windows right now, they're going to include a free entry door. That is a heck of a 2-for-1.
It's a heck of a 2-for-1 for sure, Kelly. And they're just built to protect your home, man, with top quality installation and seals, man. Window Nation has some of the best insulated windows you can buy. They are just good. 96% customer satisfaction rating, over 20,000 5-star reviews. And Kayla just told you, man, the sale ends April 30th. So go ahead and get in on this. Schedule a free fast estimate right now with the pros at Window Nation at 866-90Nation or go online at windownation.com.
Nashville is a happening city. There's a lot going on here, so much so you might get overwhelmed. It is great to live here, but you want to have somebody you trust when it comes to a real estate agent. That's why you need to check out my friend Bernie Gallerani. Bernie Gallerani has years of experience. He's going to know the neighborhoods. He's going to care about your buying or selling needs. In fact, Bernie guarantees to sell your home in 30 days or less, or he's just going to buy it from you. Finding a home takes time. We all know that. The right home at that. And for Charisse, that meant 6 months of searching for the perfect place. That's where Bernie Gallerani Real Estate made all the difference. From day one, the team was patient. They answered every question of hers and made the entire process smooth and stress-free. So when Charisse was ready, she found her perfect home. Bernie's the only real estate agent in Nashville, recommended by Barbara Corcoran of Shark Tank, and the only agent I would trust to sell my home. Give him a call at 615-428-2644. That's his cell phone, by the way, 615-428-2644, or go to BernieGallerani.com.
.801 from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. Good morning. I'm Justin Hawkins. The Titans hosted Washington State wide receiver Kyle Williams on a top 30 visit yesterday. Williams was the teammate of projected first overall pick Cam Ward at Washington State in 2022 and 23. Per Jordan Schultz, former quarterback of Colorado, Shedeur Sanders is scheduled to visit with the Steelers this week. Pittsburgh holds the number 21 overall pick in the NFL draft. And in Tennessee basketball news, Rick Barnes in Tennessee now turn to Jacoby Gillespie, formerly of Maryland, who they just signed. In the backcourt, Rodney Rice is scheduled for a visit later this weekend. And to the ice, where the Nashville Predators end their 6-game losing streak by beating the New York Islanders 7-6 in overtime last night at Bridgestone Arena. Rookie forward Fedor Svechkov had the game winner 156 into overtime to secure the comeback victory. There are just 4 games remaining in the season for the for the Predators, and they are back in action tomorrow night at Utah. Puck drop is at 8 p.m. And in the NBA, the Denver Nuggets fire head coach Michael Malone and general manager Calvin Booth, the team announced Tuesday. The playoffs are just 3 games away for the Nuggets, who are 47-32 on the season, but they currently reside in 4th place in the Western Conference. Denver is 2 years removed from winning the NBA Finals in 2023. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you have to visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once for your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone. That was...
RKW 104.5 The Zone into the second half on this Wednesday. There are a lot of storylines in the NFL this time of year. From time to time, we like to tell you if those stories are lies or if they are legit. And we'll do that for you coming up in 15 minutes on your smart devices. 104.5 The Zone app. You get us wherever you are driving around. Makes it easy. I just fire up the Apple CarPlay. You go to the touchscreen, you hit the app. You don't even have to touch your phone. You can be a law-abiding citizen and listen to us outside of the 104.5 The Zone listing area, which is still bigger than, really other listing area you're going to get. 615-737-1045 is the number. Shedeur Sanders visiting with the Pittsburgh Steelers on Thursday. Interesting stuff. Jerry Dulac of the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette reporting. Sanders, who has visited the Giants and Browns, now continues those top 30 visits in Pittsburgh, who draft 21st overall. Offensive coordinator Arthur Smith and Mike Tomlin did not attend Colorado Pro Day on Friday. However, they're bringing him in. Smokescreen season in Pittsburgh. Ramon, what do you make of this as the former Pittsburgh Steeler in the room?
Jerry Dulac reporting it.
Yep.
100% it is real. Not just that, man. The fact that he is commissioned to send that out also. I think Jerry's in-house now, too, with the Steelers. So it paints a bigger picture for me. Here's the thing. I talked to somebody yesterday, when I said I feel like they need to – there's a need for a quarterback. It's 5 straight years of a new starter at quarterback, but to be operating in a place of need is never where you want to be. Now, again, picking at 21 – the draft tells you at those spots right there, I feel like from 18 back, at any portion of the draft specifically, you go with best available. Is Shedeur the best available at that spot, or do you go for a D tackle? Do you go for a Kenneth Grant? At some point, you got to start replacing Cameron Hayward. Those are the things you got to deal with in those moments. Shedeur does make sense. I've said I wouldn't be opposed to Shedeur going to Pittsburgh because here's what you have, especially if Aaron Rodgers is going into Pittsburgh and should sign with them. From all things that I've heard, it's just a matter of time at this point. He's a guy that you can sit behind Aaron Rodgers for a year and see what happens. Again, if Aaron goes in and crushes it and does actually play well, you get MVP level play from him, which it's hard for me to say that at this point with what he's done the last few years. You're not going to be picking high again. If you have a quarterback right now that you feel good about, and from all things I know about Arthur Smith from covering him here in Nashville, he likes a quarterback that's on schedule. He likes a quarterback that goes and calls the plays and do what he wants him to. That is Shedeur Sanders' MO. You're going to get a pocket quarterback that's flexible enough with his legs, agile enough with his legs is what I mean, and has the ability to get the ball out of his hand. That is Arthur Smith 1.0 right there.
Yeah.
Play action. He can throw the deep ball. Mm-hmm. He going to be accurate, and he going to get it out of his hand. And from what Andy Staples said and listened to Emory Hunt yesterday, surround him with better parts, you got the ability to make a better quarterback.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing with this is if you don't have a quarterback currently in your, room as a starter right now in the NFL, you obviously should be looking at any quarterback in the draft, no matter what. I mean, you've got to do your due diligence of the process and going and looking for a quarterback. If for some reason Shedeur were to fall to them at that spot, I personally don't think he's going to fall. Do I think that they would figure out a way to trade up for him? Not right now, but again, if you feel like this is a fit for the future and you can indeed sit him for a year, because that's been my biggest thing with Shedeur. And even Andy Staples said he's not out on Shedeur, but he just thinks there's some things that he could continue to grow within this, next year, especially in terms of his body of work. He could do that behind an Aaron Rodgers. He could sit for a minute and you'd feel, I think, a lot more comfortable than with a 1-year deal with Aaron and then go straight to Shedeur, or a 2-year deal with Aaron and go to Shedeur Sanders. At that point, I think it would be a really good landing spot. I just don't think that's the greatest spot to draft in to think you're going to get him. But you have to do your due diligence. I do, yeah.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm. Here's my question on the Steelers taking a quarterback. Is that a condition for Aaron Rodgers signing with you?
I would doubt nobody that's signed right there can hold a flame to what Aaron Rodgers has done.
No, I mean, like, is Aaron Rodgers telling you as Pittsburgh, like, I'm only coming to you if you help me and
with
don't draft a quarterback? Like that's a condition of, like, yeah, I'll sign with you as long as you don't draft my replacement in the first round.
Here's the thing with George Pickens and DK Metcalf, that's probably some of the best wide receivers that he's had in a while. I mean, as far as weapons, Pittsburgh, I will say offensively, they're set with weapons.
Garrett Wilson and Devontae Adams were pretty good last year.
Yeah, that's true too.
The tricky thing with Pittsburgh is they gave up that second-round pick for DK Metcalf, and if they use a first-round pick on a quarterback, Pittsburgh cannot give their quarterback, likely Aaron Rodgers, more help until pick 83.
But here's the thing, though, too, with Aaron Rodgers at this point, the way I view what Pittsburgh is going to ask of him, we've provided you with everything that you need. You got a coach that's going to do everything you want.
I agree.
You got a defense that can also support you, and a head coach that believes in you, too, at this point. Like, you're not dealing with amateur hour the way I felt like he dealt with the Jets. I look at the two scenarios being totally different. So it would be dumb, and I'm going to say this legitimate. It would be dumb for them to try to plan for the future just because Aaron Rodgers is there and he feel bad. Like
from
Roman
the
Wilson,
Steelers' perspective, I agree.
Yeah, from the Steelers'
I'm talking from Aaron's perspective.
Well, if that's the case, roll Mason out.
That's what I was.
That's the way I look at it.
If you're going to have him hold you hostage, then you're going to be just as dumb as the New York Jets were.
Absolutely.
So at that point, like Aaron Rodgers, if he truly wants to play football this year, his options at this point are the Steelers and maybe the Minnesota Vikings, right? Because everything else has been pretty much filled up. So holding the Steelers hostage and saying something like, well, you got to go get me a wide receiver if I'm going to come here, right? Yeah. I don't think if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, you want anything to do with that.
Yeah, I don't think it's you have to get me a wide receiver. I just think it's get me anything but another quarterback that doesn't do anything for me. Like, even if it's get me a D tackle, like, that is more useful to Aaron Rodgers in winning one more title than another quarterback that doesn't do it. Like, if I'm Aaron Rodgers, I'm saying, no, I'll just retire.
I'll be honest.
I'll just sit on the bench.
That roster is really good, though.
No, it's solid. Don't get me wrong, but, like, it could be better with the number 21 overall pick. Again, from the Steelers' perspective, if I can take Shedeur Sanders at 21, I'm doing it. I still think that's his floor.
For sure.
I'm simply asking, how would Aaron Rodgers maybe change his decision based on that? That is a question that the Steelers have to answer, because you can't throw Mason Rudolph out there as starting quarterback.
No, you can legitimately, especially if Aaron is in that spot. Like, I mean, the Titans
I don't think they're going
right now. Jeez, I had the belch right there. God, that was terrible, Mom.
Moment of silence for a belch.
Be a pro.
No.
But I look at if they are making decisions like this, the Pittsburgh Brass, to wait on Aaron Rodgers or try to appease him for a 1-year rental, it'd be different if Aaron was in Green Bay, his original team, and he did this like they did in year 8 for him, right? That right there is flagrant. If they are bending the knee for a guy like Aaron Rodgers in this era for what they need for 1 year to try to push it to the end, because a lot of this I feel like is based upon Cam Hayward on his way out, in a sense, as far as how many years he has left. I look at TJ maximizing him. I look at Minka maximizing him defensively. If they are trying to put a stopgap on saying, hey, we got to help Aaron when Aaron's not the long future, Mike T is probably on his way more out than anything.
Sure.
He's going to a desk job if that's the case. Yeah. I mean, to a analyst job more than anything.
Or something, right?
That's a flagrant way to run a franchise, and they never have at this point.
I was going to say, I don't think that fits their MO of how they do things. They might be interested in Aaron, and they've said, hey, if you want to come here, come here. But there are no way in hell that Aaron's telling what to do.
Not in that sense. I just can't imagine it being that. As far as Aaron Rodgers say, you do this or I'm not signing. I'd run it back with Mason, who I think is capable of playing and winning you games more than bending the knee for a guy for one wide receiver.
I don't think it's one wide receiver. I just think it's anything but quarterback.
But if you look at that roster, they're locked in at almost every position for the most part, and they got youth and talent at them too.
They're young up front.
And they also played well last year up front, considering what Russ did and his sacks that he gave up.
Without Dan Moore, Broderick Jones at left tackle, Troy Fatanu, the second-year player out of Washington, at right tackle.
Spencer Anderson.
And then you got another second-year guy, Mason McCormick, at right guard.
And Zach Frazier also
And Zach Frazier at center. So They are young up front. Don't get me wrong. Like there is a lot of upward mobility for Pittsburgh. I just am very interested because that's just not a cultural fit. Aaron Rodgers with Mike Tomlin.
Mike T loves him.
Yeah.
I know.
I know.
In terms of cultural fit on who they are as quarterback and coach, outside of their personal relationship, it doesn't make any sense. When you add in their personal relationship, yes, it makes sense. But culturally, as people, that is such a weird fit. That's what I mean.
Yes. On that part,
the Steelers would instantly become one of the more fascinating teams in the NFL.
What talking about?
The second he puts pen to paper, and he's going to.
It's like
it's
hard
knocks
happen. Level, essentially.
Simply raising a question. It's what I'm paid to do.
No, that's
615-737-1045. Lie or legit? What is real? What is fake of the NFL storylines that have percolated in the NFL draft process? That's next. RKW is brewed by Scooter's Coffee with locations in White House, Mount Juliet, Rivergate, Smyrna, and Brentwood. Download the Scooter's Coffee mobile app today. Order ahead and save $2 off your first mobile order. There are a lot of smoke screens and secrets in the NFL. Many sources, as Rhett Bryan, who will join us at 9 o'clock, says, what we're hearing. From time to time, we tell you if what you're hearing is true or if it is not true. This is lie or legit. Oh, thank you, Rupert. This is lie or legit as we give you what is real and what is fake in the NFL world. I will give a storyline, and we will all tell you whether or not we believe it is true or it is not. The first, lie or legit. Shedeur Sanders will be a top 10 pick. Kayla Anderson, is that a lie or is that legit? With your mic on.
That is legit. And the reason why is because I do believe with all the stuff that we've heard about the Giants, maybe just not being interested in him, at some point you've got to think about the future. And if you don't have a quarterback for the future, you can wait another year, sure. But if you like this guy, why not take him if he falls to you at 3? And if that doesn't work, you've got the Saints sitting there at, I believe, 9. And I do think they need to think about their future and the quarterback situation. So I just think he's too good of a prospect to fall further. I just think there's been a lot of lies about him. So I do believe he will go in the top 10.
Okay.
That's fair.
Ramon?
Fair. I'm going to go lie. Just on the basis of the Giants, I don't think it'd be too quick to rush to get to a point to find their quarterback. I do like Shedeur. I think he's capable of going and being their franchise quarterback. They got 2 guys in-house right now, Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston. I think that supplements what they're looking for. Russell is going to need more than Malik Neighbors as it pertains to their wide receivers that are there. And the fact that Coach Dable has to win right now and sacrificing on getting a quarterback instead of a weapon, I don't think Shedeur is right for what the Giants need currently. If Dable's in a better situation, I feel better about Shedeur going right there. You got 2 real veteran quarterbacks. I think it just take up too much airtime instead of giving it the keys to him.
And you don't think the Saints are a viable spot for him?
Saints at 10.
At
9.
9.
Yeah.
With Kellen being their quarterback, being a head coach
being
right
a
now.
Head coach. They've got obviously
Derek Carr.
Derek Carr. Now, but that's expiring.
And Spencer Rattler. So, they got Derek Carr.
They got Derek Carr.
And Jake Haener.
Saying there's one.
They need more weapons also. And I say that only to say this. I think they can satisfy paying Derek Carr's salary, but there's a lot of other weapons that they have to just get rid of at some point in time. So I think either getting a running back, getting another wide receiver, or Cam Jordan is also at the end more than he is in the beginning of his career, finding a replacement for him too. I think it's too rich for Shedeur at that moment, although it would be a great fit. It would. I'm not opposed to it. I just think he's better suited mid-first round or later.
I will break the tie. I believe Shedeur Sanders will be a New Orleans Saint. I believe this is legit. I think for the Saints, it makes sense. They've got to get more inexpensive. They've got to get cheap. And if they don't draft a quarterback this year, they're going to next year. I think getting the number 2 quarterback in the draft at 9 is fairly decent value for a team that is rebuilding, yet also still competing because their division stinks. They have their number 1 receiver in Chris Olave. They have their left tackle. They have a quarterback-driven head coach in Kellen Moore. And they have a quarterback in Derek Carr that, as of late, can't stay healthy. I think Shedeur Sanders is going to New Orleans. I think that is legit. All right, that is storyline number 1. From one quarterback to the next. Ramon, we'll start with you on this one. Lie or legit? Jackson Dart will be a first-round pick.
I'm going to go legit. Way too much news around him, way too much closer to the draft. Conversation gets a little bit higher. And I've convinced myself, this is my personal opinion on this one, I've convinced myself the best pathway for the L.A. Rams to be a whole lot better in the continuation of who they are as a franchise is to take a guy like Jackson Dart. I look at him and I say, all right, you got Matthew Stafford there. You got a coach who has transformed this offense, if not once, not twice, but 3 times as a head coach. He is a guy that we heard Andy Staples mention earlier that, look, Patrick Mahomes was an air raid guy. It's a matter of can the quarterback play. I do think Jackson Dart is capable of playing NFL caliber quarterback at a level that's very sufficient for a team. It goes down to, can you create a system for him? Sean McVay can. Can you surround them with weapons? They got a good group of them out there, plus a defense to support them. And you don't have to play them in year 1. At 26, picking at 26, low risk, high payoff if he's your guy for the future. I got Jackson Dart going to the Rams.
Yeah, sorry, I'll wait till the little thing goes on.
No, you're good. We would do it at the end.
Okay. So everything he said is kind of my reasoning because I do think the LA Rams, it would be a good fit for him. My other reasoning is just kind of just more basic in the fact that it's hard not to think that at least 3 quarterbacks will go in the first round. It seems like in this day and age when teams are so quarterback hungry or so willing to just roll the dice on a quarterback, it doesn't seem like Jackson Dart is that far off that not one team would roll the dice in the 3rd round on him because, again, that's the day and age we live in. So I had mentioned some of those other teams before, but it would be making more sense if he did fall a little but go to the Rams. I mean, that makes complete sense. I just don't see 2 quarterbacks. Like, that's the only 2 that go in the first round.
Yes.
I just feel like that would be crazy. So I'm going to say it's legit.
You guys are falling for it. You're falling for the pre-draft buzz. This little portion of the year where we're bored. Jackson Dart will not be a first-round pick. I said, do you guys think Sean McVay is lying to us with what he said yesterday?
I missed what he said yesterday.
Sean McVay yesterday, quote, that's unlikely. Talking about taking a quarterback, says, I'll be honest with you, I haven't done a whole lot of work on the quarterbacks. I feel really good about where our quarterback room is, even though we're not naive to the fact that Matthew hopefully got a couple more years that he wants to play. But he's also learned the right to be able to say after this year, hey, I'm going to go ahead and hang him up. Sean McVay says that he did not, this was last week at owners' meeting, says he's not done much work on quarterbacks. Now, he could be lying. I think he's telling the truth.
Yeah.
I think the Rams are not going quarterback because I think with where they are with Stafford, where they only have maybe a year or 2 left with him, they're doing everything they can to help him get one more ring and one more run at a ring. I do not think Jackson Dart will be a first-round pick because I think the Rams are the most likely suitor where he is going to be at his best. You guys, though, overrule me saying that this also is legit.
Legit.
Hey.
Next up. Jalen Milroe will be a first-round pick, Kayla Anderson. Lie or legit?
I laugh. That is a lie. That is a bold-faced lie. If we're trying to say that Jackson Dart ain't going to be a first-round pick, there is no way in the heck that he is going to be a first-round pick. Look, I've always said this. I actually really like Jalen Milroe, the person. I like him, the leader-wise, all of that stuff. But right now, in this day and age, if you're going to have him even sit for a year, I still think there's so much development that he needs, especially just with his arm. And we've seen them roll the dice, teams roll the dice on these quarterbacks before. He's obviously not as athletic as Anthony Richardson.
I think he might be, honestly.
But he's got the same sort of tools, and the run game is a huge part of it. We saw what happened with Anthony Richardson year 1, and now they're still trying to figure out what they're going to do. So for me, I don't even think at this point he'll go super high in the 2nd round. I think he'll go in the 2nd round possibly, but there is no way, guys, he's a first-round pick. He's just not developed enough. They're not falling for that trick.
Yeah, I'm going to go lie also. I just don't see enough as far as what he was actually doing at Alabama with the weapons that he had to create an opportunity for him to be a first-round draft pick. And it ain't just that. It's what are you paid to do in the NFL at quarterback? Throw and spin the ball. His ability to do that is average at best. Now, does he possess the tools to be good as far as using his legs? But that ain't the way the game is played right now. This isn't, Division II football where you can play the option and run your quarterback every single play. This just won't work in the NFL at that matter. I'm not denying he can be an NFL caliber quarterback, but I sit with Jalen Milroe as a 3rd or 4th round draft pick at this point. That's just the way I view him.
Mm-hmm.
Him accepting the invite to the to the draft in Green Bay.
Wow. That's wild
my
to
brother.
me.
That is
He might be the only quarterback there.
You got more
we heard
faith
Andy
than I do.
Staples talk about that earlier.
Yeah.
Somebody in his
Yeah.
camp has to believe he can be a first-round pick and has to be confident in it if they are accepting that invitation. I do still think it is a lie, though. I think Jalen Milroe has unfixable problems to be a successful NFL quarterback. I've said about Jackson Dart and Shedeur Sanders. They're guys that could be decent if they land in certain spots. I don't see that with Jalen Milroe. I don't see a pathway towards Jalen Milroe being a successful starting quarterback in the NFL. I think this is a lie. Yeah, that's right.
Shout out, Drewski.
Clean sweep on the lies for that one.
Can I add something real quick? Somebody asked, when was the last time 2 quarterbacks were taken in the first round? It was actually, I believe C.J. Stroud and Anthony Richardson.
No, that was Bryce Young, too.
Oh, Bryce Young, too. Yeah. So, yeah, it's been a minute that not 2. I don't even know the last time.
21 draft, I think it was only Kenny Pickett.
Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, that was 1.
That was 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Last time it was only 2. I mean, this draft has been compared a lot to Jameis Winston, Marcus Mariota.
That
1
was 2.
and 3 was
That was 15.
15. Ooh, yeah, that's about it. Was anybody else
Except, I mean, the second quarterback this time around. Like, Shedeur is not as good as Marcus was as a prospect.
Right.
coming out?
Right.
But that season, yeah, that's the answer. 2015. There were 2 quarterbacks in the 2015 first round. Jameis, number 1 to Tampa, and Marcus, number 2 to the Titans.
Jeez.
Unless there's one more recently than that, but I don't think there is. I think there has been more than 2 quarterbacks taken in all of those. I think.
Yeah.
Because even 2016, Paxton Lynch went in the 20s to Denver.
Sure did.
Yep.
Memphis guy.
Forget about that.
Anyway,
Excellent.
moving on. Lie or legit, only 2 receivers other than Travis Hunter will be first-round picks. Ramon Foster.
Only 2 receivers? I go lie. I think Luther Burden gets in. I legitimately do think Luther Burden gets in.
Who do you have going in the first round then at receiver?
Ted McMillan.
Yep.
Who's the other wide receiver I'm looking
Matthew
at right
Golden.
now? Matthew Golden and Luther Burden.
Okay.
I think this is a passing league. They can throw all that crap out the window in this pre-draft. The same way I hope you got James Pierce on this lie legit list too. Like the same way that we speak about, hey, if you can make plays, we're going to find a way to you. Because here's the thing.
Like I'm adding one.
Pre-draft, this pre-draft situation to me, or this pre-draft conversation that we always have is, I think, based upon what you did in college. The expectation you've been a better pro and knowing how to act. There ain't many that have come in and just crapped the bed. Cincinnati had a guy, I think that was a model citizen from Alabama, the wide receiver that recently got in trouble with them. God, I can't remember his name. But what I'm saying is this. If you can play and you can contribute to Jermaine Burton, that's it. Mm-hmm. If you can play and contribute to your team and you are a high caliber player, you're going to get taken. I got lie on that one, Will.
Taylor, what you got?
Yeah, I went back and forth with that one. But I'm going to say lie because I'm going to stick to what I feel like I've been preaching. And I think it's hard to pass up in this day and age with the offense being such a big part of the NFL. And you always want weapons. And the wide receiver, if you can get a good one early on, you got to go grab them off the board. It doesn't hurt ever to help your quarterback, whether they're young or they're an older quarterback. And I think that Ted McMillan's going off the board in the first round. I think Matthew Golden, I think he could go off the board as well. I think his draft stock has risen a little bit. And I think it's really hard then to pass up on a guy like Luther Burden. I just think like that is enough talent. We've seen teams take maybe some guys that have a little bit off the field stuff going around. More recently, we've seen teams do that feel that they can do that and surround him by the right guys. I know the LA Chargers, no matter what they decide, they could take any of those guys and be happy with it, knowing they need to give Justin Herbert as much help as they can. As he obviously has got who's a young wide receiver there from Georgia,
Ladd McConkey.
Ladd McConkey. But other than that, like Mike Williams is getting old, right? He needs some younger weapons there. I think you just can't pass up on this day and age a really good wide receiver, which then leads me to believe, though, that you might have like a Emeka Egbuka drop to the high second round.
I also think it is a lie, but I think it's for the opposite reason. I think Burden falls to the second round. I think Emeka Egbuka is a first-round pick. I think there are enough teams that have watched Ohio State receivers come into the league and dominate to buy into that. I think there is enough smoke around Luther Burden's off-field issues that I think he falls. So
makes sense.
I think that is a lie. Clean sweep.
We all agreed on that one.
James Pierce will be a first-round pick. Let's add that one.
Yes, I go legit. Same for the same reason, man, as far as team needs and what they want. I look at picks 27 all the way down to 32, and I'm looking at team fits and what they can use and need. Baltimore's always in a run for an edge player and to get a whole lot of production out of them. Detroit, him and Aiden Hutchinson together. Aiden Hutchinson, I think, sits at like 6'6", 6'7", whatever his height is. No, minimum 6'5". You couple that up with James Pierce on the other side with a Dan Campbell culture. That's the other thing I've said about James Pierce. You put him in a position where he fully respects the culture and the coach, I think you got a different conversation to be had with a guy like him on top of veterans that know how to get him in line if his attitude is an issue. Washington lost an edge rusher. Buffalo is trying to stack up as much as they possibly can to finally beat Kansas City. Oh, and Kansas City too. All right, I think they lost an edge rusher in this offseason too as far as free agency. They need a weapon. And Philly. If this ain't the most Philly pick ever, 27 to 32, if he slid because of his off-the-field stuff, is why I see James Pierce going.
Yep, I think he goes in the first round. I think it's legit saying that he'd be a first rounder, and it might literally be at 32. Yeah. I mean, Philadelphia Eagles, just with how they've managed maybe personalities in the past, some of the Georgia personalities we've seen there that have all, for the most part, been really good in terms of their play. I know that they did some things in free agency for some shorter deals, like a 1-year deal with some of their edge guys. But at some point, you probably want to, if you're Howie Roseman, think of a long-term solution. And if he fell to you at 32, how could you pass up on a James Pierce Jr.? If you've managed personalities in the past, what makes him any different?
I think it is legit. I look at Cincinnati being his ceiling. I look at Philadelphia being his floor. I believe James Pierce will be a first-round pick. Legit.
For sure.
There you go.
There it is.
Clean sweep again, Jayhawk.
I would also throw the Chargers in there.
Okay.
I'm looking at this situation.
Replacement?
Yeah, and Khalil Mack, if I'm not mistaken, too. I think re-signed there for one more year. I could be off on that one. But I look at that culture and the way Harbaugh is going to want to play, his mentality, and just, again, the respect factor. I think it goes a long way with a guy like him. And I think Bud is re-signing back there. So you got a mentor in front of him that can show him the way.
Sure. Yeah, Khalil Mack back for one more season.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. Sure is. I like that.
1 year, $18 million.
Again.
Okay.
Must be nice.
Yeah.
Bud got what?
No, that's Khalil Mack.
Oh,
I was going to say, Bud's just Bud. Look at Bud.
No. Bud got broke off here now.
I know. Yes, he did.
Still
Yes, he did.
Sure did. Final one, local. Lie or legit, the Titans will take 2 offensive players with their first 2 picks. Kayla Anderson, lie or legit?
I'm going lie. Sorry, I'm going legit. Excuse me. I'm sticking with it. I just think that you're going with that rookie quarterback, pair him up with a young wide receiver. You probably have a couple that will be at that spot, whether it be a Luther Burden or a Emeka Egbuka. I think that's a really good opportunity to just pair these 2 up now and let them grow together.
I'm going lie. If I'm, and it's for this reason, defensive, I keep mentioning him because he's the mainstay on defense. If they don't go find somebody to continually help Jeff, whether it's an off-ball linebacker up the middle, if that's an edge, or if that's another corner at some point too, then what good is a quarterback if he gonna be on the sideline the entire time? That's the way I view that one. If you need a team together to be able to, you need a complete team. And I see it going more defense because what is Denard Wilson doing here if he doesn't have a say-so in the rounds that you're picking in? I'm going lie on that one. I like the idea of them going defense second pick.
I think it is legit. I think the Titans are going quarterback and someone to help the quarterback on back-to-back picks. I think they have allowed themselves openings to draft 2 wide receivers, the first of which will likely be at pick number 35. I think it's, if you were giving me wide receiver, edge rusher, or every other position, I would bet on wide receiver or edge rusher with the number 35 pick. Yeah. I think the way the board will fall to them, one of those good wide receivers is going to be available to them. Because I think maybe 3 of them at most are going in the first round. Unfortunately, I think Emeka Buka is going to be one of them, but I think that is legit.
I'll take it.
I think it's similar to what the Bears did with Roma Dunze and Caleb Williams last year. Honestly.
Yeah.
You pair up your quarterback with a receiver immediately. We've got a ton of, examples of teams doing this. So we will see. Open for your phone calls, 615-737-1045. Haven't gotten many of you on the phone lines this morning. You can react to anything we have gotten into this morning. You give us your rendition of Georgia on My Mind. Maybe you'll end up on ESPN. 615-737-1045. Ari Wasserman on 3 with college stars that will make GMs look smart. More college football analysis on NFL draft sleepers. We can get into that next.
We've got the trucks, all the trims, all the towing, all the bells and whistles, and all at Truck Month Savings. Two Rivers Ford.
We've got a huge announcement from Two
Truck
Rivers Ford. Just in, Two Rivers Ford is now offering employee pricing for everyone. That means you pay what they pay on almost every new Ford on the lot. And at Two Rivers Ford, what you see is always what you get. They don't do things like add expensive accessories or tack on service packages. No, to increase the price of the vehicle. Absolutely not. Two Rivers Ford is upfront and honest every single time. And now they're offering you employee pricing. There's no better time to buy American, and there's no better dealership than Two Rivers Ford. Locally owned and operated for over 40 years, the home of the non-commissioned sales team, and now home to employee pricing for everyone. From America, for America, Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer.
RKW 1045 The Zone is brewed by Scooters Coffee. 615-737-1045, the number. Wide open for your phone calls for the next couple minutes before Rhett Bryan joins the discussion coming up at 9 o'clock. Matthew is in Franklin, first up of the phones this morning. What's up, Matthew?
Hey, happy good morning, beautiful people. How's everybody?
We're great.
What's up, Matthew?
I've got two questions, if I may. The first one, I've not heard the Wonderlic mentioned at all by anyone. Is that still a thing? And did Will Levis make a 3? The other question is to Mr. Foster. Mr. Foster, I know you're a very savvy tech guy. Did you know that Apple made electric cars when Tesla made theirs?
I did know that.
Sold one. They never sold one. You know why?
Why is that?
They didn't have any windows.
Oh, my goodness. That's hilarious.
I did know about
good.
the car attempt, though.
Hilarious.
I knew
Good.
about the car attempt. That was good.
Matthew,
right
that was
there.
fantastic.
Good,
Thank you.
Matthew.
Dude. Hey, man.
Nice
Hey, if
joke.
y'all call in and start putting dad jokes at the end of your
Love
calls,
it.
you're going to skip straight to the front of the line.
Love it.
That was the thing. They attempted to.
great.
Sure in the heck
Thank
did.
you, Matthew. Wonderlic test. Did you take that, Ramon?
I did
That's a
take it.
Good point.
I think mine was fair, above average is
Nice.
where it was. It's super quick. I didn't nobody talked bad about me, so I did well. I usually test well. So, but no, I don't even know if they do the Wonderlic anymore.
No, I think
It's not discussed as much
Yeah, I
anymore.
think they do. I just don't think it's discussed. And it's weird. It's almost like, I know CJ Stroud, it wasn't his Wonderlic score, but after that whole CJ Stroud thing happened with the testing, it's almost like we didn't hear about it as much attached to the quarterback.
Correct.
Yep.
And it's kind of weird. I almost want to know like what Shedeur and Cam's are.
I don't even know if it matters.
Because I
as
think
much
theirs would be
anymore.
good, honestly.
I would hope it's good. I mean, they expect quarterbacks to be good. I remember the first guy I think that had a terrible one was Vince Young.
Yeah.
Remember when
Yeah.
his came out
Well,
years back?
just because you're good at football doesn't mean you're like Wonderlic asks some like math questions.
Sure.
Like I've got a sample Wonderlic in front of me right now.
I'll be honest with you, it's pointless.
Paper sells for 21 cents per pad. What will 4 pads cost? Like
It's like a test. Like
yeah,
in
no,
school.
it's like taking the SAT.
Yeah, it is. It is. But like for non-football reasons, like it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Like,
it's.
I have no
silly.
idea what these guys would get in it.
And when we
don't know
took it,
them.
we didn't know what it was either. Like
Yeah,
it was
right.
about as dumb as you can get as far as a test goes. Like
I think the NFL's graduated from that being like a strong indicator of intelligence.
the test that was a few years back.
The S2 cognition test.
S2 cognition.
Yeah,
test.
because I think the Texans were the ones that lied about C.J.
Wait.
Stroud having a really bad score.
They eliminated it in 2022?
Yeah, I guess it's you
The
found that.
Wonderlic? That's
Who
what
said
I'm
that?
reading
Where was that from?
on Google. I
Oh,
mean,
is it okay?
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
I can believe it. Nobody's talking about.
I
it.
mean,
So and to be honest with you, it was another one of those things that
yeah, they won't administer it.
that teams could knock you for. And if the agents were smart, were the ones to get rid of this, like legitimately, you put yourself in a spot to where you're only evaluating football. Like the personality side of this, you catch that in the meetings. At some point, a player will slip up.
Yeah, Troy Vincent's on record saying it's an outdated process. So
Yes.
yeah, it no longer is
Yeah,
used
they abandoned it in
for the
2022.
NFL.
That was good. I'm proud of them for that. The
Yeah,
one-
no,
Glad he brought that up,
It's
though.
like taking the ACT. Like it
about that.
just has nothing to do with being good at football.
Right.
It doesn't. And the test is, what am I doing? I'm taking tests or playing football.
Yeah, right.
Respectfully, at that point, I never tell my kids that.
We just had Eddie Staples on earlier in the show at 7:20. If you missed that, you can get it wherever you download podcasts coming up in 1 hour. His podcast partner, Ari Wasserman of On3.com, writes this morning, NFL draft sleepers. These college stars will make GMs look smart. Number 1 on his list, Xavier Restrepo, wide receiver, Miami.
At a 4.8?
Says, for those who haven't been paying attention to the pre-draft process, Restrepo ran 4.83 at Miami Pro Day in the 40-yard dash. So he later posted on Twitter that he tweaked his right hamstring during warm-ups and chose to run anyway, causing the slower time. The damage may have already been done. Restrepo may fall to the back of the draft, or even worse, completely out of it. Whoever gets him late is going to get tremendous value. He's the most productive receiver in Miami history, knows how to get open, and has impeccable hands. It seems very likely he'll have a productive NFL career. I agree. Yeah. I think there are guys whose ability shows up on tape more so than what shows up on the clipboard and your stopwatch.
Okay.
And Xavier Restrepo does not look like a 4.83 wide receiver. To me, Jawan Jennings was in the same boat. Didn't run well. Do you think that mattered for Jawan Jennings? No, it did not. I think Restrepo would have a role to play here. If I'm doubling up on receiver, if I'm the Titans, I would love to have Restrepo be that second receiver late in the draft. Would absolutely love it.
I did not know he was all-time leader in receiving yards for Miami.
There.
So, he's been – you're right. He's been there for a minute,
Miami
right? 22
receivers,
years old.
No doubt.
you know, like that's the part. Like, yeah, you're right. Like, I'm shocked too, Kayla.
Other guys on this list, Kyle McCord, Syracuse.
Wow.
From Ari Wasserman, who says he led the nation in passing yards, 4,779, and broke Deshaun Watson's ACC single-season passing record. He did have an off game. He threw 5 interceptions in Syracuse's loss to Pitt. He can get the ball out quick and is very accurate. Ari Wasserman writes, we've seen quarterbacks taken in the later rounds find tremendous success at the NFL, and the former 5-star prospect could be a good value if he lands in the right situation. Again, I completely agree. I think this draft is filled with quarterbacks who could be decent if they go to the perfect spot. You give Kyle McCord, Sean McVay, or Kyle Shanahan, I think you are getting Brock Purdy light. I'm not saying he's going to be Brock Purdy level. I think you have upside as a game manager, get the ball out quickly, accurate on a guy with a ton of upside in Kyle McCord.
Who are so that point about Kyle McCord? I guess we got to have a deeper conversation at a later date because we're up against it. But who are the coaches or quarterback systems that these types can go to? Because I feel like it's so much boom or bust in today's quarterback market that, like, where are the systems that don't have a quarterback or have a J.J. McCarthy that you can say, you know what, I'll replace you?
To me, it's the McVay tree guys. It's Mike McDaniel in Miami.
Okay.
It's Sean McVay in Los Angeles. It's Kyle Shanahan in San Francisco are the 3 that I start with.
Kevin O'Connell.
Which makes sense.
And Kevin O'Connell in Minnesota, I think. I mean, Andy Reid, obviously, but he's not on the market.
You believe in Kellen Moore for that?
He's got to prove a little
We'll
more.
see.
As a head
coach. Yeah.
When he doesn't have the best O-line in football and the best running back right now in football,
How about
what does
Liam
his
Cohen?
offenses look like? I think Liam Cohen could be. But again, like we'll see what he is as a head coach. Other guys on this list quickly before we get to Red on the other side. Nick Scorton, A&M. Another one.
I roll with that.
Yeah.
Pooh Paul, Ole Miss. Completely agree.
I love that name.
Projected as a 3rd or 4th round pick. There's an inside linebacker option for you. Elakea Manor, Stanford. Canadian board wide receiver. Led them with 63 catches last year. CJ West, Indiana. Burt's boy, Willie Lampkin, North Carolina. Your guy, Landon Jackson, Arkansas. And then 2 running backs. RJ Harvey at UCF. Love that. And Devin Neal at UCF. Love that. Devin Neal is a cheat code on the EA college football video
Ain't that
game.
the Heupel offense? No, that was
UCF?
Malzahn.
That's Malzahn. Well, running backs, I don't care as much.
Okay.
It's more a quarterback and wide receiver kind of hurting those guys.
Gotcha.
Coming up, Rhett Bryan. We're scouting safeties in hour 4 next.
One word that comes to mind when you think about Genesis Diamonds, integrity. This is a company built on a solid foundation with total transparency and honesty, man. This is why they don't have commissioned salespeople. They pay their employees, not you. So they aren't under any pressure to sell to you, and you aren't under any pressure to buy. They share with you the long-held secrets of the diamond industry, teaching you the tricks to maximize the value of your purchase. They show you how to buy like a dealer buys, man. And another thing, at Genesis, they don't play the pricing game either. Unlike other jewelers, they work on a very small margin. They don't mark up to mark down. They offer the best value price every day. What they do when they do have a sale, guess what? It's the real deal, not a phony one, man. We're lucky to have Genesis Diamonds here. They're not another big box corporate chain store at all. They're locally owned, but with international connections that guarantee no middleman pricing on every diamond, all right? And don't forget this. Only Genesis has the top bridal designer brands that everyone wants. They were handpicked by all all the top designers because only Genesis meets the highest standards in quality and customer care that these designers demand. You will love the experience there. Trust me. Genesis Diamonds are located in Green Hills and Cool Springs.
.902 from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. Good morning. I'm Justin Hawkins. The Titans hosted Washington State wide receiver Kyle Williams on a top 30 visit yesterday. Williams was a teammate of projected first overall pick Cam Ward in Washington State in 2022 and 23. Per Jordan Schultz, former Colorado quarterback Shedeur Sanders is scheduled to visit with the Pittsburgh Steelers this week. Pittsburgh holds the number 21 overall pick in the draft. And in hockey, the Nashville Predators ended their 6-game losing streak by beating the New York Islanders last night at Bridgestone Arena 7-6 in overtime, thanks to rookie forward Fedor Svechkov with the game winner 156 into overtime, securing the comeback victory. 4 games remain in the season for the Preds, but they're back in action tomorrow night in Utah. Puck drop is at 8 p.m. And in the NBA, the Denver Nuggets fired head coach Michael Malone and general manager Calvin Booth just 3 games left before the playoffs. The Nuggets currently sit 4th place in the Western Conference. Malone joins Nick Nurse, Frank Vogel, Mike Budenholzer, and Tyronn Lue as 5 of the past 7 coaches to win the NBA championship and now being fired. Denver won the NBA Finals in 2023. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you've got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Fourth and final hour, fourth quarter of the program that gets better in the second half, plays its best ball down the stretch here on RKW. We are brewed by Scooter's Coffee, caffeinated and opinionated. You can be too with locations in White House, Mount Juliet, Rivergate, Smyrna, and Brentwood. And make sure you get that app. Scooter's Coffee mobile app today. Order ahead and save $2 off your first mobile order. Crew is all here.
Yay.
Full studio. Rhett Bryan joining the conversation, talking some safeties, talking all of the Titans topics. Rhett, it feels like Christmas today. Good morning.
It does for multiple reasons. Good morning to you all. I've already printed and collated 2 copies of Dane Brugler's The Beast.
I love it. A forest has been struck down.
Yeah, I'm sorry, trees. I'm really sorry. 521 pages of biblical deliciousness as it pertains to the National Football League's draft.
Biblical deliciousness.
What is this, communion today?
If you're turning your hymnals to page 4077 for stanzas 1, 2, and 4 of safety breakdowns.
First Wednesday in April, baby. Serve them up.
We'll go a cappella on the 4th stanza.
If you feel the Lord in your heart.
If you feel led, let's talk linebackers.
Sounds like we're righteous
Come on to the altar, baby. I'm telling you, I love
Who
it.
is the Lord's favorite safety coming out of this draft? Is it Jonas Sinker from Virginia? No,
it ain't a gemstone.
Oh, my Lord. Is it?
Baby Billy, maybe.
That's what I was saying.
Which safeties are misbehaving? Find out next.
Yes, exactly. It's
Thank you.
15 days to the National Football League draft. I will remind everyone, Titans radio coverage right here on your home for Titans football, 104.5 The Zone. 2 weeks from tomorrow night, and we will be, I believe, in the club section of Nissan Stadium for the draft party, on the air at 6, off the air at 9, for the simple reason that feels like it's Cam Ward, feels like there's no trade back, and so there's no need to stay through the whole first round if they don't trade down. And if they did trade down, I wouldn't think it'd be much past middle of that first round, so that 9 o'clock would cover it. Friday night, this will be from Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park, from their podcast room where the Brian Callahan radio show and Titans Tonight emanates from, and that'll be, again, a 6 o'clock start. That's when rounds 4 through 7 begin, or actually, I'm sorry, 2 and 3 begin.
I'm getting ahead of yourself.
Draft, yeah, I am.
So what's his O2?
And then out at 9 o'clock, and I would anticipate we will have General Manager Mike Borgonzi on one or both nights. Same with head coach Brian Callahan. And, who knows, maybe on Friday night, because it's in the building over there, maybe Cam Ward drops in. I'm pretty sure we'll talk to him after he's drafted on Thursday night. And I say that like it's imminent. Anything can happen, but it sure feels that way after they mutually agreed to cancel what would have been a private workout today, I think in Colorado, with Shedeur Sanders. So
yeah, it was.
Anyway, lots of stuff happening, but we hope you'll tune in that Thursday and Friday night in 2 weeks, and we'll be ready to rock and roll.
I love it.
Exciting.
Good stuff. Announcement also coming this week, Rhett, off the football field and on the airwaves, that Taylor Zarzer will be the new voice of the Titans and on Titans Radio. The guy is just really suffering down in Augusta, Georgia this week as a part of SiriusXM's coverage of the Masters. Really tough for him to have to spend his week that way. He's had a pretty good week, though. I'm joking, of course. And I know you guys are all really excited to work with him and have him a part of the team.
Yeah. Mac and I had some conversations with him in recent weeks, and I think Mac and I both come away with we like him the more we talk to him. Come away with something
nice
from a conversation. And the conversations have all been natural, organic. I mean, the first time I talked to him, it was a Teams meeting scheduled for 30 minutes. We talked for an hour.
Nice.
Wow.
You know, it's easy when, and I think our goals and work ethic and vision and those things align greatly. He knows, and listen, he made it really easy for me because he said, Rhett, I know how much Mike means to you, and I know how much Mike means to this team. And he said, I have a very healthy respect for Mike, and Mike has been very, very kind to me. And he said, I want to be the best Taylor Zarzour I can be. I can't be Mike Keith. And I said, that's the right approach. And I said, because I told him, I said, if we're ever, he said, no. Don't worry about eggshell in it with me. He said, I want to celebrate him. We'll play his highlights and calls. And so that made it easy for me to go, okay, let's talk about, and so we'll have dinner here in a couple of weeks, week of the draft, and just kind of break bread and start talking about likes and dislikes and things. And but anyway, I've had frequent conversations with him since, and I called him Monday afternoon to congratulate him, and he wasn't able to grab the phone, but called me back, had a great conversation, and I said, have a good call, because he calls all the majors for the PGA on SiriusXM. And I said, so I have a good call this week in Augusta for the Masters. And I said, hey, tell Titans Radio's old friend Jim Nance we said hello.
Hello, friend.
And I told him about Jim Nance meeting him 3 years ago, whatever it was, and just he said, no, that's the kind of guy he is. He said, with his profile, you would think, maybe he's standoffish. I said, I've met a lot of people in that were worse than standoffish. And I said, he's exactly the opposite.
Yeah, for sure.
But anyway, great conversation. I'm looking very forward to working with him and kind of charting a new course for Titans Radio. There'll be some things that will sound different, but thank the good Lord above, Coach Mack is back on track with us and ready to roll. And so we'll start working on those things. And I look forward to spending some time with him at OTAs and stuff in the spring calendar as we get closer to the season.
I love it. That is great stuff. I loved the other day his interview with Jim Wyatt mentioned that it was right in the lead of Jim's story when the news came out. Like Mike Keith was talking to him last year after Tennessee beat Chattanooga, and Taylor was on the call for the season opening game against Chattanooga and sent him a text saying, nice job. That was a tough one to sound entertaining. Then a year later,
that's funny.
Obviously in the same role, just really, really cool.
Yeah.
Did not realize that was the only game I was able to go to, man.
And,
that was I think we left 69 at the end of the third quarter or something.
Taylor actually started in radio in town here a little over 20 years ago. And if you haven't heard the OTP that he did with Amy Wells, he said with the station he was with, he was credentialed and came to all the ball games in 2001. He said, I still have all of those credentials.
Yeah, all 10 of them.
Saved. And I was thinking, I threw some of mine out in some of those bad years, but I bet I've got enough to cover a whole room.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But that told me a little bit about him.
Nice.
And
I love it.
How he gets it. But I think, and you had some good advice for everybody listening yesterday, is give Taylor a chance. He's not trying to be Mike.
Absolutely.
And he knows that we miss Mike. And I think you'll hear some exuberance and excitement in the places where it warrants it in play-by-play.
No doubt.
I love it.
Well said.
Very excited. That is the next era of Titans Radio. And Titans Radio's draft coverage will be filled with a lot of analysis from
presented by
Coach Mack.
Farm Bureau Health Plan.
That's right. And Rhett Bryan, we go in
Here's
deep
what we're hearing
to the Bible of what Rhett's hearing about safeties coming up next. RKW brewed by Scooters Coffee on 104.5 The Zone with locations in White House, Mount Juliet, Rivergate, Smyrna, and Brentwood. Download the Scooters Coffee mobile app today to order ahead and save $2 off your first mobile order. I feel like my voice needs to drop an octave with the sounds of the man in black. Coming back from break here. Rhett Bryan in studio with us. Talking Titans, talking safeties. Rhett in the Beast from Dane Brugler, something that you're going to hear us reference a lot.
Here's what we're reading in
over
the Beast.
Over the next couple of weeks. There are two safeties with first-round grades, first/second round grades to be exact, in the NFL draft. Nick Eamon-Warry, South Carolina, Malachi Starks of Georgia. On the Mac Rep board, is there a consensus number one safety prospect, Rhett Bryan?
Malachi Starks, Georgia.
Okay. Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Malachi Starks, almost 6'1", 197, hands 9.5, arm 31 5/8, wing nearly 79. Pretty long prospect for a guy that size. And let's see, he tested 4.50 in the 40, 1.51 in his first 10, Ramon.
Yeah.
4.45 short shuttles, 7.26 3-cone, 33-inch vertical leap. And I think people would maybe not argue this as much, but he was the backbone of that Georgia defense for his time there.
For sure.
He held down the back end of that thing and did it well in some big, big games. And you're just, a guy that has played all over the back of that defense and done it well. 77 tackles, 52 solo, 1 pick, 3 pass breakups in 2024. But yeah, he is just, I think he's a ready-made plug-and-play kind of dude when you're talking about the back third of that defense. And Nick Eamon-Warry is there because he is more towards a non-prototypical size. Like he's a big dude. Big,
kind of like Kyle Hamilton size for the most part.
6'3" and an 8, 220.
Wow.
Yep.
9-inch hands, 32.5-inch arms, wing 78 1/4. So check that. Malachi Starks actually has a little bit longer wing than Nick Eamon-Warry. So there's tells you that. But sure. Nick Eamon-Warry, I took a picture of him at the podium from a side angle, just showing you how I'm like, this dude for scale, he's huge.
And he can run is the crazy part of it. Like you said,
I mean,
that
he
1.51
tested
10-yard split is crazy.
Yeah.
How big was James Williams again? Because he's obviously huge and was a safety.
Yeah.
I can't remember. I was
James
just trying
Williams
to get a feeling of like the.
Let me look it up real quick.
I got it. 6'4", 231.
Okay. So just a little bit bigger than
So
him.
at 6'3" and change and 220, he ran 4.38 in the 40, 1.49 in the first 10, 43-inch vertical leap, 11.6 broad, 20 reps at 225.
Crazy.
20?
And to compare that, James Williams ran a 4.6.
Right, exactly.
20 reps at 225 on a long arm prospect.
Yeah. That's
You're a big fella.
Look at the attention.
That's hard to do.
I was just about to say out there, I got 20 or 21 myself. Heck, I mean, that's a lot.
Bench presses for T-Rex and Velociraptors. That's their territory.
That's why I'm bad at it.
Hang your hat on it.
One of the many reasons.
But no, I just hit with his testing at the combine. And I think people were starting to gravitate towards him having a first-round grade, but that really kind of put it over the edge. And, as everybody does, you want to see, does that tape match those explosive skills? And you see a lot of that on the tape.
So with Malachi Starks, it's interesting. Former 5-star recruit with the top-ranked athlete in the 2022 recruiting class. He was the number 4 recruit in the state of Georgia. The 3 players ahead of him?
Yes.
Travis Hunter.
Boom.
Wow.
Michael Williams.
Who will also be a first-round pick. There's 2 of them.
And Alabama edge rusher L.T. Overton, who will be a 2026 first-round pick.
Yeah. Pretty good company, huh?
Recruiting services know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Like, I know we know this, but like 247 on 3, all these people. they're pretty good at what they do, to be fair to them. So anyway, I thought that was interesting.
No, but they track that too.
For sure. That's why there are 32 5-stars.
Yes.
Those 32 players every year are projected to be first-round picks when they're draft eligible.
And then the top 100 is still one of those groups. Like there's guys, like I had to go Vols route. I think Omar Norman-Lott was a top 100 like signee at the time. And they follow those guys legitimately.
It's incredible.
Sure.
Yeah.
Anyway.
By the way, I want to give tip of the cap to Dane Brugler, who is really good at what he does. And this, I tweeted about it earlier this morning. He learned, there's a couple people I really, really trust in this process. And, Daniel Jeremiah, you've heard me say I trust because he's done it as a scout. The other one is Dane Brugler. And it's like, well, Dane Brugler never worked in an organization. That's true. But he went to a very similar thing like I've done in the Coach Mack School of Ball. The legendary scouter for the Oilers / Titans, C.O. Bricado, that the War Room is named after in Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park. He bugged the crap out of C.O. Bricado as a young guy and said, I want to learn how to grind the film and look at the tape and look at and he did the work.
It's awesome.
That's cool.
And, C.O. Bricado is legendary in those circles. Like his chair, after he died, his chair was empty there at the Combine that year where he would sit with the hand time 40.
That's cool.
Yep.
And
Legacy, man.
But anyway,
That's a good little story.
Dane Brugler, it's legit. And then this book, The Beast, he works on it year round.
Wow.
Like
523
he's taking
pages.
a breath and he's already working on, 2026 Beast because that's what it takes.
Well, I'm on page 483, Rhett, of The Beast, looking at the breakdown of a man who is reportedly visiting with the Titans this week for a top 30 visit. Omaha, Nebraska native Xavier Watts, a safety out of Notre Dame, who is 23 years of age and was a wide receiver recruit in the 2020 recruiting class out of high school. His freshman year at Notre Dame, played wide receiver for the Irish, was in 2 games of the pandemic-shortened season, moved to a rover linebacker and safety role in 2021. Fast forward to 2023, he's a unanimous All-American, the Bronco Nagurski Award winner for the nation's top defender, and he had 13 interceptions in his last 2 seasons as a Notre Dame safety. This is a strong candidate, Rhett, for the number 35 pick for the Tennessee Titans.
And a place where they need a safety to go alongside Amani Hooker. And we saw a rotation of that, which is a good chunk of what Denard Wilson's defense does with that other spot. But they need more solid production there and more consistent production. And this guy would be someone that would kind of fit the bill with that. So Pro Football Focus put out superlatives of the safeties of this draft class, and they listed Xavier Watts as the best ball skills. Listen to this. Watts, easy choice here. He's the best ball hawk in the class. 7 picks in 23, led all players in the nation. Bronco Nagurski, as you mentioned, trophy winner, given to the best defensive player in college football. Following year, tied for second among all FBS defenders with 6 picks. Great hands and speed for the position, always seems to be in the right place at the right time. And listen, you want to see that in penultimate examples, look at the college football playoffs. He was all over the place in there.
Really good.
Xavier Watts, 5'11 and 3/4, 204. Hands 8 5/8, arm 31 1/4, wing 76 1/2. He did not test at the Combine, and I have failed to look up what his pro day numbers were.
I got it right here, Rhett.
Come on in there, big man. Give me some help.
There at his Notre Dame pro day, Rhett, it is registered as him as being 6 foot on campus, 205. He was, yeah, I know.
Grew a half inch.
Yeah.
It said he ran a 4.58, which is fair for a safety, man. His 20 splint was a 2.7, and his 10 was a 1.62 with a vertical jump of 35. So there's your explosion.
And a 9-10 broad jump.
Yep, broad jump 9-10.
Nice.
Yeah, gained the inch. That 6 foot look a little bit better than 5.
It always does.
It
always does.
What they have it down
You
as.
best believe it, baby.
99 cents sounds cheap, but $1.
I'm telling you, Red.
There we are, right?
Cookie, right? Absolutely. And he's been on a visit already, too. So I've been talking about Jeff, right? But like Armani Hooker, deservingly so, needs a co-part, like a Robin.
He's
that
also
he can
older,
train
too.
up. Who's that?
I mean, Amani's also not a young spring chicken anymore, you know?
How old is Amani right now? 26?
He's on his second
He was
contract.
drafted in 2019.
I thought he got
Hooker
his early.
will be 27 this upcoming season.
Okay, he's still in the
my
middle
age.
right there. He just got paid
Oh,
early
nice.
is what it was.
I'm not a young man.
He's
on
old
his
as hell, Will.
Second contract. and he's had some injuries.
OAH, old as hell.
Yeah, exactly.
OG old guy.
By the way, I should mention, too, the local pro day is at the Titans facility, I believe, Friday.
Yep.
That's one of the
local one.
Yeah, they always do.
I know. All right. So here we go then. For all the folks that want to help the team and bash the team and say, I could.
Oh, my goodness.
Great Circle Road.
You want
Right?
people,
Great Circle Road. Go be
out
there.
and
people in the
Try out.
F&M Bank chat to go try out for the Titans?
I need
Just look
this
for the
content.
bubble. Look for the bubble.
Yeah, right.
And there's a guard shack right
We
there.
need this
That's
content.
hilarious. Wide
Like,
receiver tryouts. Go
Taylor,
on out.
can you imagine?
That'd be
oh my
hilarious.
God, how many hammies would be popped? I ain't trying to derail us, but
And
man,
heaven forbid, maybe an Achilles or two.
no, straight up,
Make a great reality
You know, I was a
series.
stud linebacker at high school.
Get on the line, sir.
That was like when Sam Phelan of A-to-Z Sports tried out for the Nashville Cats a few
Yeah,
years back.
I remember that.
We need
I
that
forgot
energy.
about that. Yeah.
We need that energy,
That'd be fun.
man.
Anyway.
Hey, that's an APV out right now, man. APB, let's do it.
I want to pivot to some guys in the class that are value picks in this that are a little more closer to where we are. I'll start with Upton Stout from Western Kentucky. It probably because of his size, he probably translate more to being a nickel cornerback at the next level because he is 5'8.5", 181 pounds, arms 30, hands 9, but 166 tackles, 6 interceptions, 15 pass breakups. And here's where the reason I'm saying with him, guy is a scrappy irritator. He is in your pocket all the time. He's disruptive. He has that mentality of just like he's bringing a fight to you. And he has special teams value because he was a North Texas transfer, played the last, I think, couple of years for the Hilltoppers. But punt and kick return snaps in his time in the 40, 151 in his first 10, 10-6 broad, 37.5-inch vert, 21 reps at 225.
21?
21 at 225, 429 short shuttle. Nice player there. And that's one that has my attention. And then I'm going to go to a guy that I kind of have a little bit of a link to via my sister, Amy. And this is Malachi Moore at Alabama. Malachi Moore, first of all, my sister went to high school at Riverdale with his mother, Penny, who was on the soccer team.
Nice.
And Malachi is a guy that got a lot of playing time early on. I mean, he played the star position as a freshman for Nick Saban. You're talking about, a guy that had appeared in 64 games for the Crimson Tide. So one of the more experienced safeties in this draft. Came in at the combine 6 feet and 7/8. I'm sorry. I'm reading the wrong one here. Let me find Malachi Moore here. Here we go. 5'11 and a quarter. 5'11 and a quarter, 196, hands 9, wings 75 and a quarter. Did not test at the combine because I believe he was recovering from sports hernia surgery, but he did have his pro day recently. And 36-inch vert, 4.57 in the 40, 15 reps at 225, and a broad of 10.6. And in his time there, mostly in the star position, but moved to full-time safety in 2024. 214 tackles, 7 picks, 25 pass breakups. And the other thing that makes him a value, over 500 snaps as a core special teamer.
Exactly.
Punt and kick coverage, all that stuff. He makes somebody a nice player who's played very well at a very high level to Power program, Power 4 program.
I look at both of the Malachis, man. You bringing them up, Malachi Starks and Malachi Moore, man, and say this, Malachi Starks has seen a lot as far as the caliber player that played in the NFL, so he has an understanding of it, too. And I'm trying to, if you're picking between him and Nick Imamori, legitimately, I probably side with Malachi Starks. right? Or to be honest with you, I know Nick and even Maury has his deficiencies that you speak of, like can his size translate over if it's going to bring it every single time. But I got to give it to Bama and also Georgia as it pertains to their defense. Their guys come ready. And not just that, but like you're looking at a couple of guys that Detroit has drafted from Alabama, and they are thumpers. They're guys.
Brian Branch has worked out okay, hasn't he?
Yes, he has. And they thought that was a reach, man. That guy's an impact player for them. And you got to go with reputation. I know it sucks to say that sometimes, but I ain't passing on Xavier Watt either if we got an opportunity to take a guy like him.
No. And Andrew Makuba from Texas is a nice prospect. The two safeties from Penn State, Kevin Winston Jr., who, he had an ACL and ended up having to sit and is recovering from that, but should be ready to go. Jonas Sanker from Virginia. There's several guys in this. Another one that I think's a value dude is Dante Trader Jr., Maryland.
Oh, I was going to say Trader Joe's. I thought you were going that route.
Dante Trader Joe's. That will be what he will be referred to from here on out. 5'11", 196, arms 31 1/4, hands 8 7/8. 47 games for the Terrapins, 190 tackles, 5 interceptions, 15 pass breakups, 31-inch vert, 9.9 broad, 7.03 3-cone, 4.32 short shuttle. And he's a guy that brings the physicality to it, like the way he talked at the combine at the podium too. But that's somebody that's a value pick in day 3 that I think could help somebody. But yeah, there's some safeties in this thing that could be helpful to a lot of folks.
I have to bring up, because it is a Sanders, I do have to bring up Shiloh Sanders. Because I think what's funny about this is it's just like the name, I think, obviously helps him in this case. Yep. I know not a lot of people have been impressed by Shiloh Sanders in terms of what his career has been. But realistically, where could he go in this draft, or where does he deserve to go?
Shiloh, from every indication, is a late day 3, but probably undrafted free agent.
Yeah. And you wonder if someone would just take him for his name.
Let me say this, for all the people who love Coach Prime and Colorado and that whole deal, what I'm going to say may irritate you or upset you, and I'm not trying to be disparaging about these young men trying to make a career out of this, but both Shedeur and Shiloh, for their dad to be Deion Sanders, one of the best, most athletic I've never seen. I mean, one of the fastest players I've ever seen cover the NFL. And I'm seeing it live.
Stolen base machine.
I've seen it.
For the Atlanta
in
Braves.
fact, let me give you a tidbit you didn't know about old RB over here. I played in a celebrity pickup basketball game against Deion Sanders at TSU.
Oh, my gosh.
No way.
Really?
That's
wild.
When
he was with the Cowboys, and he smoked me because I'm no good at hoops anyway, and I just did it for a charity thing.
You got Prime era, right?
You're putting Prime in the boom room.
I got a rebound, and I thought Leon Lett was going to knock me in the next county over my back.
He would have.
He was in his prime.
Yeah.
That's pretty fun.
But it is so crazy to me that Shedeur and Shiloh are his sons, but they don't have the athletic traits.
Right.
And and again, I say this with all respect to those young men, but this is setting up, and I said it a few weeks ago, this first round is setting up for Shedeur to possibly drop quite a ways in this first round. It would not surprise me. And the reason I say this, you start looking at the picture that's developing with the Cleveland Browns. Who has been linked to them in the recent last 72, 96 hours?
Travis
Hunter.
And I think that's probably where they're going, because when you look at who they brought in for top 30 visits, they brought in Tyler Shuck from Louisville, who they could get in night 2 late and have a value there. And I said it a few weeks ago, if Shedeur makes it past the Raiders at 6, a lot of people say the Saints at 9. I think he falls a pretty good ways. He doesn't fall out of the first round.
Right.
I don't believe that.
Steelers at 21.
Steelers at 21 is what I've thought for about the last 3 or 4 weeks.
Could be.
I really do.
Yep.
But if you're bringing in Tyler Shuck for a top 30, and that's the thing about people like, he's 26. He's had all these injuries.
Yeah.
He's actually a decent quarterback.
Yeah,
I know he's 26 years old.
Solid.
But the thing is, he had no degenerative injuries. He had bad luck. Yeah. He had 2 collarbones and a broken leg. He didn't have 3 ACLs.
Or soft tissue stuff.
So
no, he had a couple breaks. I think it was a collarbone, a leg.
He was the best quarterback at the combine.
Yeah.
Now, given that
he looked good at the Senior Bowl.
Yeah, both. And but knowing that the other guys at the top weren't there.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's amazing with with Shiloh and Shedeur that they did not get the athletic genes.
So here's
they're good look, they're good athletes, so they wouldn't be talking about being drafted.
By Prime. Like, he knows what he's doing. Like, he's raised them. But, yeah, you're right. The athletic ability naturally is
And this is why most everyone, I won't say unanimously, but most everyone has Cam Ward as quarterback one in this. Because there is an elasticity and an athleticism to him. Matt called him Gumby-like.
Yeah. Sure.
Like, he can snap and throw that thing into places. Now, sometimes it's to his detriment, but throw it into places you're like, how in the world did he? And it's weird because it's a sidearm. Anyway, that's, this stuff is starting to shape up. But you noticed what I noticed. If we think Cam Ward's number one, we think maybe Travis Hunter is two. And if not, it's Abdul Carter.
Right.
So things start shaking down. Do the Giants do something crazy and take Shedeur at 3? Sure, that could happen.
They might.
Absolutely. But I think the Raiders at 6, I think that's Ashton Genty because they really missed Josh Jacobs last year.
Yeah, that's hard to pass on.
Yeah. And then the other one would be if it's not the Saints at 9, then it's starting to tumble.
Or Dallas.
Because you're getting into spots where a lot of teams in that neighborhood need other things. Like the Miami Dolphins, they need a left tackle now.
Right.
Because Teron Armstead retired over the weekend.
Yeah.
So there's just things how this kind of, and you also see what they've done in different teams have done in free agency.
Right.
So we're 2 weeks out, and it is very compelling.
I love it.
It is.
There's a guy ranked 2 spots ahead of Shiloh Sanders in the Beast. Shiloh Sanders is ranked 43rd amongst safeties in Dave Brugler's The Beast, right behind the pride of Vestavia Hills, Will Brooks, Tennessee, the man who beat Alabama. Anyway, that's just my homework.
There's your flex.
That's right.
You're good.
Hey, I love Will Bees, all right? Will Bees that go to Tennessee. Big fan.
Who?
Will Bees.
Never heard of him.
All right.
He just pulled the rock on you. What's your name? It doesn't matter what your name is.
His name is, or it's the bird. His name is Wilma.
Yeah.
Carson Newman has a higher rated safety.
Major Williams.
Then Shiloh? Oh, my goodness.
Minor Williams.
Wow.
Yeah, Major Williams.
I mean, that just...
Go Eagles.
That tells you that he's probably, looking at undrafted.
No.
And look, here's the thing. All you got to do is get your foot in the door.
That's it.
That's right.
That's it.
They'll find you.
That's it, Rhett.
You could be NAIA. NFL will find you.
I mean, look, Cam Ward, by all indications, is about to be that story. The ultimate story.
0 star.
All you need is one opportunity in college, 0 star. Yep. And you could, in your wildest dreams, putting in all the work, could become the number 1 pick in the National Football League draft. That's bananas.
Easy, man.
He is Rhett Bryan joining us Wednesdays here at 9 on RKW. 15 days until the NFL draft. We got one more visit with you, Rhett, and then we're in draft week.
Woo!
We'll be draft eve 2 weeks from now when we talk to you.
Nice.
Love it. Good stuff. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
That's what we're hearing. Coming up, there is a streak that ended yesterday in sports you are going to have to hear to believe, and that's next. Wrapping up the show this morning, RKW brewed by Scooter's Coffee. What if I told you a 99-game losing streak ended last night? Would you believe me?
99?
Because it did. A pair of Division III baseball teams, yes, Teaneck, New Jersey, where we find this story, entering its contest with Yeshiva University. Lehman College's baseball squad had lost 42 games in a row, but they were the upper hand. They had the upper hand because Yeshiva, I'm probably saying that wrong, I don't care, had a 99-game losing streak.
What?
Something's got to give. The Lehman Lightning got in the win column, taking down the Maccabees 7-6 in the first game. This is a real story. The Lightning's first win since May 9th of 2023. A hard-earned comeback by the Lehman Lightning. Yeshiva up 5-1 early. Was ahead 6-4 heading into the seventh. Doubleheader rules, but a double by Brandon Danes drove in the tying runs for the Lightnings to force extras. The long-suffering fans of both of these teams got wins. They played a doubleheader. Lehman broke a 42-game losing streak, and the Yeshiva Maccabees Division III team broke a 99-game losing streak yesterday.
My good, that sounded fake.
That's a
that
real
whole
story.
Sounded like completely
I am
fake.
reading ESPN.com on this.
That is why. I feel bad for all the fans.
No, I don't. At this point, if you're a big enough fan to go there and watch that,
ain't
man,
nobody covering Division III baseball.
They might as well do like
other than the SIDs.
I was going to say, it might as well just keep the box score and let the AI generate a summary for them. At this point, like seriously, that is tough sliding. I wonder who's actually come out of. I have to look that up later. Like, is there an alum that went there that actually went to like Division I schools at some point in time? Because everybody on the team can't be that bad. Like, unless like they're picking up neighborhood kids. Like, hey, you want to go to school here? And we got a baseball team. Yeah, I want to play baseball.
Yeshiva?
Oh my gosh.
Lehman College was established in 1931 in New York.
Okay, I've heard of that.
They are in the Bronx, I believe.
Yep.
The Bronx. I'm looking for famous alumni, and I'm coming up empty. Athletics, here we go. Not much. Notable faculty. No, I don't want faculty. I want people I've heard of. Here we go.
That's how you know.
Notable alumni. I'm not seeing any. There you go. Joe Foy. Third baseman, Major League Baseball.
Okay.
There you go.
Joe Foy.
Shout out Joe Foy.
Shout out to Joe.
Don't know him.
Hey, he made it through the trenches.
An actress in Orange is the New Black went to Lehman
I did
College.
watch that show.
Elizabeth Rodriguez played Aleida Diaz in Orange is the New Black, or Leda.
Okay, yep.
Joe Foy, man. I'm looking him up right now.
Oh, a Power Ranger went to Lehman College. Cool.
Which one?
Be careful.
The Gold Ranger.
Okay, we're good on the gold one. I love the gold one. They debuted that one. The gold one was
I was a
so
big Power
cool.
Ranger guy growing up.
Oh, I remember when the gold one
Power Ranger,
showed up.
Pokemon, loved it.
Oh my gosh, what a tune!
One of them
was.
died recently, I think.
Oh,
Yeah, unfortunately.
Kayla, no.
I know. I mean, it's just facts.
I mean, you're reporting the news,
Yeah.
but I didn't know that.
Yeah, I don't know which color it was, but
Yeah, well, one of them got into some big trouble, but that's neither here nor there, man. Oh Lord, that's tough. Congrats to them. Didn't hit 100.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like, let's celebrate what it is, Will, not what it was. Like, they're on the streak right now, both of them. Well, Yeshiva and
win another one. We'll call it a win streak. It has happened before.
what? This amount of losing?
No, I'm quoting a movie.
I was going to say, Lehman College out of Brooklyn, New York. I'm saying it right now. Joe Foy was a third baseman.
Quoting Major League. If we win today, it's called 2 in a row. And if we win again tomorrow, it's called a winning streak. It has happened before.
you can do it.
Major League.
Here we go. All pro players in DB, I guess. Marcus Figueroa came out of Lehman College. He's a pinch hitter, left fielder, right fielder.
Anyway.
Went to Mercy University.
That's your Division III baseball minute. The Braves won last night, so it was a good day to be me yesterday. Between Arsenal, the Braves.
It's your week.
Day.
It's your week.
My week. I'm going to make an azalea today and watch some par 3 contests.
I've heard you say
an
that.
azalea?
Yes.
So let me real quick.
Yeah,
Azaleas, I don't think we have time. Find out tomorrow to see what an azalea is. No, azalea is vodka or gin, pineapple juice, lemon juice, and grenadine.
Ooh.
With a maraschino cherry and a lemon.
I am
It
in
is
on
the
that
cocktail
with
of
the
the
vodka.
masters.
I got
it
all
looks
those
pink.
things at home.
I love pineapple.
Inky Johnson, midweek motivation wraps up our Wednesday. We will talk to you tomorrow morning. Here's Inky.
if I could be trusted. And oftentimes when we get a tough experience or we go through the wilderness, we abort the mission or we waste the experience. And so you always tell people, even if something doesn't turn out the way you want it to turn out, don't miss the lesson. Because if you capture the lesson from the adversity and the opposition, you can learn from it. If you can learn from it, you can get better from it. If you can get better from it, now you can add value to every environment you go into and every person's life that you come in contact with. So don't waste the moment. Don't waste the situation.